YouTube, it's Raphael. Check out the Cherokee 1.3. I've been wanting this thing for years. We balanced the prop and the spinner, and we painted its beautiful nails white, and it looks awesome.
It does.
We will show all of that in the unbox, in the build radio setup. All right, takeoff flaps, landing flaps, beautiful Fowler Flaps there, ailerons. We mixed about 25% into the rudder. We'll see if that works well. And then obviously we have safe select activated and ready to rock and roll. Guys, we really hope this thing is as good as I thought it was gonna be. It went together very well.
Super easy build.
Very easy build, which we overcomplicated as always. 50% throttle. Oh, yes. Boy, that thing rolled mostly because we have tons of elevator trim in it. There we go, out of the flaps. This is on 4S. Need even more elevator, goodness gracious. The thing flies like solid. And look how real it looks. Oh my goodness, you can see through the glass. Look how slow you can fly it. Oh, I'm loving it. That's no flaps, by the way. Oh, loving the landing lights.
Those lights are great.
In the bowl. Goodness gracioso. Need tons. I'm at the down elevator correction. Check this out over here. Do we have fog coming through here on this? Okay, 4S gets you moving. Hyperscale performance. You don't see the Piper Cherokees doing that every day. And it'll do a lot more. This thing would totally cornhole, but I'm not gonna do that in the first 30 seconds of our video. Guys, loving the way that this thing flies. Very gentle, very easy to fly. Only thing I don't like is I feel like it's maybe a little bit on the tail heavy side. I need that battery to go forward. Landing flaps coming in right here. Let's see how much we can slow down. Good Lord, look how slow that thing will go. Oh my goodness. Rocket assisted takeoff. Man, I love the lights. Super easy to tell what direction you're going. Let's try a landing. Real steep approach. We'll go right over the tree line, make our base leg turn, take off flaps, landing flaps. Here we go, about 30% throttle. Really having to force that nose down. Folks, I'm out of throttle. Look at this. Look at that gorgeous landing. Look at this. Oh yeah, so simple, so slow. Looks like child's play. Oh yes, love the fact that I can turn around. Let's get that battery shifted forward because this thing needs the battery forward quite a bit. Okay, out of the flaps altogether. Loving the lighting. It looks absolutely glorious, very realistic. Throttle cuts on. We got 3 minutes left on the recommended timer. We're gonna pop this thing off altogether. I gotta hold that just so the mic doesn't come off. You guys get to see my mic for a minute. All right, we need that battery forward. That's crazy. I think I'm gonna have to totally disagree with the recommended CG.
Do you want that second strap on there?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just gonna do it like that because this thing is slow and very lumbering. I'm sure there's lots of weird noise. I apologize, folks. I clipped onto my lanyard today, thinking that would be okay and appropriate, and I don't know that it was.
I don't know. We'll find out, I guess.
Okay, so here goes nothing. Take off flaps. Oh yeah.
Better?
Hey, can you go back to where you were? So much better, folks. So much better. Oh yeah, that thing was flying weird. Hey, more toward the Esteban.
Okay.
What? There's Esteban? Who are you talking about? Oh yeah, our favorite Latin cameo is here with us tonight. We got special visits from cameos all week. Look at this. Uh-oh, watch this, watch this. Here we go, here we go. Did you see the Esteban?
Nope.
He made a special appearance.
Because I'm zoomed.
All right, let's give him one appearance.
Okay.
Esteban, are you ready? Do you think it looks better now that I move the battery forward? I think it looks way better. Okay, take off flaps, landing flaps. We're gonna do an ultra slow pass so that you can see all of his beautiful curves. Here we go. Here we go. Man, that looks so good. So good. Man, look how stable it is. What do you think, Esteban?
I love it.
It is absolutely gorgeous. A little bit of power for the turn. Oh man, it is just absolutely a daydream to fly this thing.
Reminds me of the SR22, but much better.
The SR22T, but like way more beautiful.
Yes.
You know, I don't think it's more beautiful. I think it's better flying. The SR22T had that long, skinny, narrow wing chord, and I feel like this one just flies great. It looks so real in the sky. Guys, if you didn't know that was radio controlled, you'd swear it was. Hey, let's try safe. Okay, in safe right now. Okay, 50% throttle. Limited bank angles are pretty wide. Oh my goodness. You could really jank on that thing. There's down, there's up. That's limited up, that's limited down. Roll right, goodness gracious, you can Esteban turn that thing. Hey, Esteban's here. Out of safe. We're just gonna glide down, guys. I'm slipping, 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 slipping. Goodness gracious, that thing has tons of inertia. 4S 2200. Guys, this plane flies excellent on 4S. I was afraid it was just gonna be insane amounts of power, like stupid insane. But I would say that it looks very scale. You just have to manage your throttle a little bit, which is no big deal, guys. This plane is totally fine and totally happy at 30% throttle. You can take off at 30. Oh man, look how slow it is. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And then with 4S, you can get off the ground and pretend it was a touch and go. Loving, loving the way that it looks. What do you think, camera crew?
Looks really good.
Do you hear that cow?
I do hear the cow.
He's pissed off about something.
Sounds slightly distressed.
I think he's thinking about when he's gonna be dinner. He's probably like, don't eat me, eat that guy over there. Ew.
Hey, not to interrupt your hilarious joke.
What?
Your timer did go off. Are you just totally ignoring it, or
I
are you
am
thinking about it?
absolutely ignoring it because I'm at 50% throttle. Did you like that song, Esteban?
Amazing.
This plane is so good. The only thing I don't like is the amount of trim because I have the down all the way right now. Meaning I need to mechanically adjust my trim, and that's gonna be a Bearcat on this plane because they have that weird mechanism on the tail.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking forward to that. Full landing flaps here. Let's just show you how. About 20% throttle just to keep it moving in. Look at the angle of attack there. I could probably land it there in the 37-foot wide approach. Do you want to try it? Let's stand by Esteban and give it a shot. So Esteban, what's it like to be best friends with Brian Phillips RC? It's amazing.
It's a blast.
Just say it's amazing.
It's amazing.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to you in your life.
Ever happened to you?
Me and Esteban, we used to hang out and fly. That was back before he abandoned me by not moving to the country when I did.
Exactly.
After repeated attempts to try to get him to move next door, he didn't. But it's okay. That thing is gorgeous, isn't it?
It's a beautiful plane.
I'm just loving the way it flies. I think I could probably do 10, 12 minutes, no problem. Beautiful sunset too tonight. We'll go back and forth a little bit here. I think we deserve a little bit of grass ops here. Rough grass ops.
Oh man.
Okay, I changed my mind. That's out of flaps there, folks. Man, look, it doesn't even need the flaps, folks. Love the angle of attack as you're doing the slow passes. It looks so realistic. Just like this. Oh my goodness, it does cornholes. Out of the throttle, it'll fly upside down. That guy just spilled his coffee. Bob Hoover's flying. Full landing flaps. Bob Hoover. Beautiful touch and go, guys. Boy, I just don't know. I don't know if there's anything bad I can say about this plane other than the elevator. The elevator trim is annoying, but it's not a big deal. It's certainly not something that can't be fixed. Right overhead, are we good?
Mm-hmm.
Love the way it looks. I just keep thinking, when is Rambo gonna come out and shoot a rocket launcher at it? Because the Colombian drug cartels have taken this plane. That's what I keep thinking, because look where we're flying. It's all like jungly and stuff.
It's loaded with some special goods.
Special goods.
Yep.
You gotta watch out. Oh man, that is so cool. Is that movie with, remember that movie with Harrison Ford?
Oh,
Clear and Present Danger?
okay.
When they blow up that plane that's full of cocaine or whatever it is that they, drug they're making. I can't remember what was used in that movie. But man, that was so cool. And I think that was a twin engine and it might've been a King Air. Do you remember? That was an awesome scene. One of my favorites.
Now we have to watch Clear and Present Danger tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
Guys, this plane, like I could just seriously just keep doing these loops forever and I'd be satisfied. My camera crew would probably get bored after about 10 minutes.
I'm just wondering.
Did you like how I said 10 instead of 2?
Well, it's been 12 minutes and 2 seconds. I'm still here.
Are you concerned about my battery?
I am slightly would like to at least know where we're at. Maybe.
Okay, that's fair enough. Let's go ahead and check it out. Guys, very, very tame landings, very easy to do. Almost no input on those landings. If you were in safe, you could practically let safe land you. No, I'm not gonna demonstrate that because I like this plane too much. I don't want to screw it up, throttle cuts on. Let's look at the props. I did notice a little bit of oscillation or noise from the prop. And I'm a little bit concerned. It's possible maybe we threw some of that stuff. Nope, still good. Still good. I did a little grass cutting. Everything feels perfect. Let's go ahead and power this up safely. You good?
Yep.
Feels good. Throttle cuts on, slowing it down. Motor feels tight. Everything feels golden. Love the lights. I had no idea how good they were gonna be.
Really good.
Beautiful pilot. Everything is gorgeous. Love the clear canopy. Love the fact that it's plastic and not a bunch of mixed materials. Those are always the worst because they always break. This thing is just very simple. I love the way that the chair looks. I don't love the way the instrument cluster looks. My elevator though, guys, I am at full down plus 100%. You see that? So what I need to do is I need to make a mechanical trim adjustment. And I think on this plane, it's probably gonna be in here.
You're gonna have to.
Will you pause?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna make an elevator mechanical adjustment. Okay, so the way you do that is, first of all, you move your elevator, you see where it is, and then you take note of it by looking at a line somewhere. Okay, so I see that there's like a line here, okay? And I'm gonna put that right at the tip. So now I'm gonna loosen this screw here that runs the elevator. It's very easy to tell what it is because you can just move it. Now I'm gonna run the trim down until it's centered. And then I'm gonna make sure that my elevator is at the right position, which is right on that line there. That probably would have been something good to have in the manual. I bet they did, and we just didn't read it because we were in a hurry to.
Possible.
Okay, so that's tightened. That was about as easy a mechanical trim as you get. So what we're gonna do now is, instead of being responsible adults, we're gonna keep flying now, because that's what we do on Brian Phillips RC. We go 8 minutes and 47 seconds past our flight time of 6.
I do have the battery checker in my pocket.
Oh yeah, so good. Guys, I need to trim up just a hair now, just a little bit. Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, it's so glorious. Oh, it looks so realistic. I'm loving it. Guys, when you're flying at 50% throttle and you got no droop, I'm gonna go up a few clicks so we can see it. Oh, that looks so dang good. You can be rest assured. One click of aileron, one more click of aileron. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. So we've talked about all sorts of off-limits topics today. Mexican drug cartels. We mentioned cocaine. We mentioned explosions, guns, shooting, violence. I think we said something about Jewish people, but it was not
so.
intentional.
No.
What else did we say?
Something else.
Oh, there was all sorts of the normal things. So
Yeah.
we have really just outdone ourselves today on this channel. If you're curious about seeing all of these times of unmentionables, then just stick around. By the way, we've also gone way past our timer. We've done cornholes. Let's do another one. Cornhole, cornhole. Wow, you don't see cornholes every day in Piper Cherokees, but you do on Brian Phillips RC, because if a cornhole can be done, we will do it. And by the way, if we don't get one in on camera, we always get it in off camera. Full flaps. Oh, there was also Michael Jackson.
Lots of Michael Jackson.
Lots of Michael Jackson, and the fact that I love the way he looked, how beautiful he was, that was awkward. We had Esteban. We just had all sorts of things going on in this video. See, you know what, guys? If you can't laugh at yourself, what's the point?
Don't have a YouTube channel.
What's the point? If you take life too seriously, you shouldn't be doing YouTube. Let's be totally frank, guys.
I love when you can see all the way through.
It's so cool.
It's so cool.
I know, me too. I love looking all the way through. That reminds me when we did the beaver.
Are you paying attention to what you're doing?
I was looking at
I
Esteban
know
for
you
his
were.
reaction instead of looking at the plane. Oh, that looks so absolutely gorgeous.
Those lights.
Oh, listen, we, you know, we already got that out of the way earlier. It's all off camera though. Esteban came for the beaver. You really got to move the air across the surfaces to get this thing to do it. But I'll tell you what, if you keep about 10% throttle, you got plenty of air to make that tail move where you would like it to move. I love flying this plane. It is so gorgeous. Every angle that you look at it, there's something new and exciting to look at and enjoy. The lights are extremely helpful in pointing out what position you are relative to the ground, relative to yourself, relative to pitch and roll. You good, Esteban? Guys, I love flying this plane. It is very, very fun. It's everything I wanted it to be. It is the exact opposite of the Dynam that I was describing in the build, which you guys will get. The wheel pants were not a problem. I thought they might be. They were absolutely no problem. Oh, and by the way, you may have noticed we're still flying. What did they recommend for a timer? 6 minutes?
Yes.
What am I in, 20 minutes?
A little under 19.
19 minutes plus the adjustment on the mechanical adjustment on the elevator. Why do we do a mechanical adjustment, Esteban?
So you don't have to do it all with trim on your transmitter.
Because if you do it with trim on your transmitter, you may actually trick the transmitter into thinking you're giving input, thus overwhelming the AS3X. And also you'll run out of trim on the transmitter, which is not a good thing, because if you run out of trim on the transmitter, where do you have for trim?
Nothing.
Exactamundo. Full landing flaps. See, the camera crew outdoes herself every time I ask her a new question.
She also outdoes herself in recommending that you should check your battery
Hey,
voltage.
landing, it's dead. We might have to do grass landing. Watch out. Everybody out? You good? Okay, here we go. This is not a drill, folks. We are dead. Oh, yeah, baby! 14 minutes 17 is what I got. What do you got? 14, 17, 14, 19 plus 6 would be 20.
Yep.
So just so you know, guys, 20 minutes is all you can get on a 2200. That isn't very much.
So as I was literally saying.
Hey, seriously, that died out there. That's 50% throttle. Okay, throttle holds on. Okay, let's try this. Flaps are off. We're gonna pick it up. I'm just gonna demonstrate what a dead battery sounds like. That's a dead battery. Throttle holds on. Wow, that is an incredible amount of flight time. 20 minutes on a 2200 4S, okay? Absolutely gorgeous. Did you see how you open that antenna? Okay, camera crew, can I trade you?
Yep.
Let's take this XBC battery checker. First of all, let's talk about this. Bulkhead, first bulkhead, 2200 4S to the middle of the bulkhead. That's perfect. It's basically centered exactly on the battery.
Straps.
Yep. Let's show them 3S quick after we show them how bad we depleted this battery. Which, by the way, just want to demonstrate how not puffed that pack is.
Not a bit.
Square edges and beautiful. A little warm. It's just a little bit warm, and I know warm. I'm an expert on warm. Ha! 0%. Oh, 3.3, 3.19, 3.38, 3.38. It's a little expended. Okay, camera crew, do you have the 3S?
I do, but you're gonna have to take that first.
3200 3S is what we're doing now. We're gonna lose light, but we're not gonna do another, this would probably be darn near a 30-minute flight. I would say, realistically, you could do 15 minutes on a 2200 4S, no problem, you'd be at 25%, unless you're just cornholing it the whole time. So in this case, I'm gonna run this forward, and I'm basically gonna center it right there, and that's all she wrote. I'm just gonna center it. I don't really care what the CG markings are. They are incorrect, in my opinion, in my best estimation. Now you gotta remember, I had a lot of trim and everything in there, but that trim does not impact CG at all. Throttle cuts on, timer's cleared. We'll probably be lucky to get 6 minutes before the sun is gone. But look how stinking beautiful this plane is. It is just absolutely gorgeous in every way. Except for the instrument cluster. It's not gorgeous in that way. What?
You're crazy.
You don't, I don't
it's
like it.
fine.
I think it looks ultra sized. It looks weird, I think. Oh, that's so gorgeous.
Well, bigger is
You wanna-
better.
All right, let's try some grass ops here.
No,
But
why are you doing that again?
oh, that's true. I guess the grass ops don't work very good because our grass is too bumpy.
If it wasn't bumpy, I think it would be fine.
Out there, it's even too bumpy. I think
Yeah.
you'd have to have an extremely manicured grass
Yeah.
to get it. Like maybe we could do it off a sod, camera crew. Okay, let's go. That's 50% throttle on takeoff there. 3S, 3200, 60% throttle, takeoff flaps, a little bit of trimming needed. Oh man, it's absolutely glorious. Okay. AS3X only right now, just so you guys know. Trying to get my trim worked out. Ooh, got a little bit of roll. There we go. A little bit of yaw. Getting the yaw, getting it out of there. Okay, here we go. Full speed pass on 3S. There's nothing to scoff at there, folks. Plenty of power. I like the 4S 2200, plenty, because the flight times are what I desire. Camera crew, do you mind going back to where we were? Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Just for consistency reasons. Guys, this thing flies on rails. It's very easy to fly. There's no bad habits. The trim was the worst part of it, and to be honest, there's probably somewhere in that manual that says to put that elevator at that little line right above the decal. Take off flaps to slow it down just a hair before I get into some weeds. Little bit less zippy on the 3S, but absolutely plenty of power going between me and Esteban. Guys, this plane just leaves nothing on the table. Just absolute gorgeous. You can even see from the tail because the way they organize the lights. I like it. Let's do a big old barrel roll here. And down the runway. A little bit annoyed with the vibration I'm hearing because we obviously went through quite a bit to balance everything perfectly, unless we knock some of it off. When we went into the grass, takeoff flaps, landing flaps this time on 3200 3S, about 15-20% throttle, 0% throttle, and flare. Oh yes, she's more tame on the bigger pack. I love the way that it rolls. I feel like the CG markings on this plane, the expectation from the manual is incorrect. It needs to be a little bit different. Put your battery in the middle and you will be happy. No flap turns there. Absolute gorgeous, absolute gorgeous. Up and over and around. She'll do all the high G maneuvers and 3D flying you'd like. Well, she's not quite unlimited vertical here. And I'm not a real big fan of doing 3D with planes like this. But let's suppose you were big into it, you'd want to get that battery back further. Very quiet out of the throttle. Man, she is in love with ground effect. This plane just, once you get it into ground effect, she'll fly forever. She'll fly absolutely forever. I want to try to get her into ground effect earlier. So I'm going to go into the bowl and then kind of come up. Take off flaps here, steep turn. Trying to get into ground effect early. Landing flaps into the throttle. I'm powering it into the runway. There we go. Obviously could have stopped if we wanted, but we wanted to do that as a touch and go. Man, she's so quiet. Let's try that as a no flap pass. You good? Mm-hmm. One step to your right toward the house, please. Thank you, perfect. Into the ground effect. That's why you need flaps on a plane like this, folks. Because I just feel like the flaps give you that little teeny bit of help once you get into ground effect and you're right on the edge of a stall. Takeoff flaps alone, kind of doing the same thing, riding up into the ground effect as the hill meets the plane and out.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so that's our timer expiration there. Man, you can see this plane so good. So good. Really sharp turn. Have to get it in. Just above ground effect. Ground effect for me, probably about 3 times the height of the plane. Okay, full landing flaps right before touchdown. So you've got power. You can do what you need to get out of trouble. Certainly doesn't look scale. Sorry, camera crew, if I scared you a little bit. Between us. That was a little butt clenchy. You know what I think happened? I think my battery might have slid.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's find out. Could be wrong. Kind of doubt it though. Riding the elevator a little bit here. Front of the vampire killing zone. Let's try to land it. Slip. Nice. That slip allowed me to really get it nice and flat and level. Okay, so let's taxi back and check the battery condition. I think we slipped the battery in there. But what I said by, I mean, I don't mean to confuse you guys if you're listening, but the slip is when you use rudder and aileron to kind of go sideways, almost like a reverse knife edge. Okay, let's check this out. Did we slip the battery on that one touch and go? It's kind of hard to tell. I kind of doubt it. I'm gonna go back just a hair. All right, let's do this some more. We're almost out of light, so we're not gonna make this last much longer, guys.
Yeah, my focus is getting a little
Okay, here we go.
iffy.
Way more pitch sensitivity back there. We probably found the line. We were probably perfect before, but with pitch sensitivity comes good flare for landing. Full landing flaps. Even with full landing flaps, you can flare this thing like crazy if you've got it tail heavy like this. Check this out. See, even a stall, you can still flare. Flies a lot better with that battery forward though. Man, that looks so freaking good. I'm in love with this plane. Sorry, camera crew.
It's all right. I'll be fine.
Nice. Okay, so I think we're probably done there, right? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's getting a
little hard to keep the focus.
Yeah. It's gonna start looking grainy and weird.
It probably already does.
Yeah.
You guys can't always tell on camera when it gets dark because the sun was down probably 5 minutes ago. And this
it's kinda
overcast,
cloudy, yeah.
yeah, it's really making it last. Okay, throttle cuts on, out of the flaps. Those big Fowler Flaps are awesome. Everything about this plane is just rock solid. Definitely like the way it flew with our battery pulled forward. You can pretty much just not mark the CG on this plane. I would not do it. So when you see us going into that on the build video, just ignore that step, okay? Center your battery in the tray. Maybe get your bigger battery up to the front of this bulkhead here. And with the smaller pack, you might go kind of split the difference right on there with a 4S. Yes, you can use a 4S 3200. You could probably put a 5000 in there if you want. But the 5000 in the Gen 1 has an EC. It has an IC5 on it, which is weird. So make sure you get the right size connector or get an adapter. Can't say enough about this. Sometimes you get these planes that you've lusted after for years and they suck the big one. This one didn't. It's awesome. I would buy it for sure. If you like the Cherokee, if you're a general aviation enthusiast, if you like flying RC, if you want an everyday flyer, the only thing I can warn you about with this plane that I can say unequivocally is you're not gonna be flying it off of grass. You don't have very much clearance. Look at that.
Yep.
You're gonna have to have like a golf course grass. If you've got a golf course set up in your grass, you'll be fine. But I would highly recommend flying it off of pavement or off of a runway like what we've got, a concrete runway. Love the versatility and the different battery pack sizes. Love the strength of the landing gear. We had absolutely no problems on that. Love the cleanness of the bottom of the wing. Love the Fowler Flaps. Love the LEDs. Love the way it went together. What's not to love about this other than the oversized instrument cluster? The beautiful pilot actually looks great, better than some that we've seen in the past in the general aviation realm. Not the least of which would be the Cirrus SR22T, which had a flat-nosed anti-Pinocchio. He's a very truth teller. Needed to tell a few lies, so his nose is more conventional. But I'm just loving the scale on the pilot, hating the scale on the instrument cluster. That's all I can say bad about this plane. That's pretty good, right?
Yeah, it's very cool.
Follow the link in the description below. You can buy this plane for yourself. We'll link to the different batteries that we mentioned. We'll link to the NX series. I recommend the 8. It's only like 40 bucks more than the NX6. Plus you get the lanyard. And of course, you get the extra 2 switches, the extra channel, and the extra knob. So that's very helpful when you're doing some of the AR637Ts, which are gonna give you the ability to do your gain. And the 631 when you're setting it up, not in a bind and fly. In the bind and fly, you don't need to set up the gains. You really don't have access to it unless you default the whole thing and start from scratch. I would not recommend that ever for gain control. I would only recommend that in a plug and fly. If you can get a bind and fly in any model, get the bind and fly. If you can get it ready to fly and you're new, get the ready to fly. The least setup you have, the happier you're gonna be, and it's money well spent. Believe me, you're gonna waste a few bucks on a transmitter that you're probably gonna get another one of, but it's fine. It's better to have 2 transmitters than 0. I know that from experience. Plus, if you get a simulator, you can use one of them on your simulator. You can leave it as a dedicated tool for your computer. Any other thoughts?
This is new to us, but it's also re-released because it has the 631 in it, which I know you said at the beginning of the build, but if people don't
Yep,
go
this has the 631 in it. So it's a new release, a re-release with the 631. Used to have the AR 637, excuse me, it used to have the 636B. It had the 636A originally, and then they went to the 636B. I don't know if this one always had Safe Select. May have been AS3X only. Now this is equipped with Safe Select. We did assign it, we did use it. It does everything fine, no bad habits on Safe. It's not like it dives real weird or does funny things, which some of these planes have had strange tendencies. Case in point, Timber 1.5 meter original. That thing liked to fly downhill without flaps. So in Safe, I don't know, there's been a couple like that. We'll let you know if that is the case. This one, no bad behaviors that we could see. Also, that thing helps. It's nice because this thing bounces so good on the mains, you are gonna tend to slap this down on the ground. It's gonna help keep it. Inflatable pneumatic tires would be sweet, which we have some stuff coming if you haven't already seen it for the Beaver, and it's very neat. Anyway, guys, if you haven't already, like the channel, like the video, come back for more, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all the normal stuff. But we finally have succumbed to peer pressure and we included a Patreon site. If you guys wanna support us on a monthly basis, you can do that. We're gonna try to get a PayPal if you wanna support us with one-time gifts. We're doing that from peer pressure, mostly because we get thousands and thousands of comments and you guys don't see them all because you don't read all of them, but I do. And it takes a long time. And that's part of the reason why we're asking, because we need more time. That's all we got for you tonight. Come back for more. Yeah, Tim, it's Brian Phillips. I've been waiting for this forever. Forever. You've already seen it, just like every other video. I hate having to go over that, but I do anyway, just because I don't know if it's the first time you've ever been to the channel, but we try to put the flights first. And then we show the unbox build and radio setup for those of you who are really into it like me. Oh my goodness. It's an aviation classic. The Piper, is it a Piper Cherokee? I think it's a Piper Cherokee. If I'm saying that wrong, I know I'm gonna get brutalized in the comments, so please, please God, make it be a Piper Cherokee.
Change history.
We can always do some movie magic and redo this.
Nah.
Nah, we don't care that much. We've said much dumber things. All right, so the Cherokee 1.3, this is a scale airplane for intermediate pilots, which is another way of saying you need to know how to fly it. But it's a skill level, do they say 2? I'd be amazed if that's a 2.
Yep, 2.
It's a 2?
That
means more than 1 in less than 3.
Well, if you get the plug and play, it's a 3.
What? This is gonna be hard to fly?
I don't think
that
so.
pilot looks like he's not very experienced. Look at him.
He doesn't even have a nose.
Oh man, there better be a nose on this pilot. Look, they took this particular picture because they didn't want to show the nose because it's so hideous. It's like Michael Jackson, God rest his soul's nose.
It has abundant details.
Not Michael Jackson original. He had a good nose and he was beautiful. I don't know why he ever screwed that thing up.
Give me one of those days, huh?
Awkward. Ow. Maybe I'm not skilled enough to open this box.
Band-Aid.
Horizon loves to make their boxes hard to open, but you know what? Let's just say it this way. If you buy this thing and it's shipped from like overseas, which it is, then there's a good possibility you want it to be packed right. Oh yeah, whoa. Whoa, it's getting huge.
It's a boy.
Get out. Man, I'm like having major problems here. This reminds me of the Draco. You remember the Draco?
Yeah.
It's like, let's just open this thing like, we'll get to it eventually, people. Goodness gracious. Well, normally I display the box in the background. Oops. Not gonna be.
You open things like a 4-year-old.
I'm sick of it. I've had enough of it. Cherokee. Get out of here, Cherokee.
You should still put the box in the background.
Okay. Well, we got that one opened.
Oh
Oh my goodness. That was exciting.
All over you.
Well, happy 4th of July. Weeks ago by now. I'm sure you're seeing this. You're probably like, Brian, been there, done that.
It's like
It's like the
Labor Day.
15th. But anyway, yeah, happy 4th to you too. Oh, yes. Look at this vertical stabilizer. No, I think that might be a wing.
How big is this plane? We don't know the year of the box.
Well, it's somewhere over there on the ground. Ooh, look.
It's not very big.
That's
nice.
beautiful. Covered servos. Looks like the servo out here on the aileron is a Spectrum. This is an A3300R. So it's an SBMS A33R. So it's a sub micro analog. So I don't think that's a Metal Gear servo. So whatever, it's a servo. It's a servo that's in the wing. Look at this, easily
Nice.
removable. Now, one interesting idea. Ooh, Fowler Flaps, look at that. Oh, beautiful. Love it. Look at the Fowler Flaps, guys. Okay. Horizon does a great job of making planes that are worth having. You see that weird thing that's glowing there? That is a hinge that is embedded in the foam. Okay. So it's not just a pinch hinge like you'd get on a Dynam. And then this is an offset hinge, which is very strong. It's plastic, and plastic. Okay. And then basically this rod goes through. That's gross. Somebody dropped their thing.
What is that?
It's in the foam. It's just like weird. I don't know. It's like a green chunk of foam. I mean, foam is like a natural thing. Maybe. I don't know. Well, it depends on what type of foam, I suppose. LEDs, beautiful. Flashing strobe, solid green, and then a landing light, it looks like. Okay, that's awesome. Really good. Hey, they got my pants in here. Thank goodness, I've been looking for them everywhere. Okay, very simple pants. Wheels feel like there's a little bit of binding there. That's not necessarily good, but it'll make it slow the plane down really good. Okay, like the way that looks, very heavy duty. Obviously, these are gonna go into the wings, so there's a left and a right. The cats have already found the box, even though I destroyed it. Here,
It's okay, they'll just
have
destroy
that
it
too.
more.
They will, don't worry. Ooh, look at this rod. That's pretty good. It's hollow, it's real thin, real light. Here,
Carbon fiber?
yeah. It's beveled on the end. Show them up close. Look deep
All they
into
can
my eyes.
see is your eyeball. Hold
You
still.
can learn what I truly believe about Michael Jackson. Whatever. He's one of the best artists of all time. I'm really having problems today.
You
This
are.
box. Goodness gracious.
That's what happens when we start filming so early in the day.
I know it's like only 1:30. What are we doing?
I don't know.
It's like breakfast time. I'm glad that didn't hit a plane. Or my camera crew.
Cat.
Oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
It looks pretty standard to me. I have a master air screw prop that looks a lot like this. I can't see the size because it's blocked. Shoot, I was hoping to tell you guys. It looks nice. Nothing too fantastic. Oh, you know what? I think our cats have gotten a piece of foam. Will you check over there quick? If they got a piece of foam, let's get it, because I don't want to pick up millions of pieces.
Oh, nope, too late. It's already millions of pieces. Sorry, Cole.
Check out this sack.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. Oh, thank you for getting that off my shirt. Okay, so they have a bind plug. There's an antenna of sorts, it looks like, and then a couple of covers for something. Oh, if I didn't mention it, we're doing this plane because it's a re-release. I have legitimately, seriously, I've wanted this plane for years, for 3+ years. I didn't get it. I got something else, and instead I got that, and I didn't get this. Now I have this, and I'm very glad I got it.
You just got foam on your shirt, exactly where I took foam off your shirt.
Okay,
Oh, geez.
same thing, looks pretty good. Little crappy edge here. That's ugly, that's ugly. Looks like they're molded. Oh, you know what that is? This is the bottom half of the molded and this is the top half of the molded.
Like where it comes
Wow,
Huh.
that is incredible. Or, no, that's just glue. That's legit glue. And then they jig this, paint it, and then they apply a decal. Okay, so there you go. So this is the walking strip, in case you guys were wondering. So that'd be like a texturized spot to walk. I don't think that that would be black, because that'd be a no step. You don't step on controlled surfaces. I know this. I'm an expert on these things. I've never fallen off one, but I'm sure somebody did one time. It's a funny thing about aviation. One person crashes and then everybody else has to hear about it forever. Same thing with stepping on the flaps or the ailerons. One person falls off of an aircraft carrier and we all have to obey the rules for the next 10,000 millennia. Hey, cut it out. Hey, man, this is really cleaned up over here today.
It is.
I like what you've done. What? He has a nose.
Oh.
Why didn't they show this beautiful face?
Yeah.
And why didn't they use that in the
They use that guy
citation? Yeah, why didn't
Oh,
they use that in
yeah.
the cite? Well, I guess that would be the Cirrus SR22T. That guy looks like Pinocchio and ugly. This guy's like chiseled. He's ready. He's ready for action.
I was gonna say it looks kind of like you, but never mind.
Oh, never mind. He's not chiseled. Okay, so there's the body. The canopy is all plastic. That's pretty cool.
Hey, you were right.
Piper. Woo!
Thank
Goodness. That would have been embarrassing. Guys, there's nothing quite like saying something that you should know and being completely wrong, and then into perpetuity, which is how long YouTube videos last. Into perpetuity. Having to listen to comments about how you got something wrong that you probably knew and you just misspoke. It's one of the best parts of YouTubing.
That's why we try and do a lot of math on the channel.
That's
just
right, like
off the
1
top
plus
of our
1
head.
equals 3.
Yep.
And I'm sticking to it unless it's wrong. And if it's wrong, then I stand corrected. Put it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and support us on Patreon. That was exciting. Man, we've made a huge mess.
The
Think we'll-
cats are like,
Normally we wouldn't do this, but we're gonna pause and clean this stuff up because somebody threw stuff all over the room. And look what came out of that gigantic box. It's kind of hilarious, actually.
yeah.
It's like, that actually is quite
That's
compact. I think it's a 1.3 meter, but we'll have to like survey the damage to
Is
find
that
out.
all
It's
the
like
hardware?
NTSB, TBS. No, that's a TV
NT
channel. NBTS.
No.
I'm just kidding. What size is it? It's on here somewhere. Oh, look, there's,
1.3.
ooh, that's beautiful. 1.3. See, Piper and 1.3. Booyah facts. We're gonna build this in just mere moments. If you guys can hold tight, I promise I'll come back. So we found this little thing in the foam before I took it out to the garage to throw it away. I think it might be the horizontal stabilizer. Pretty sure. And there's a carbon fiber rod in the middle, as you can see, and then this doohickey that takes plastic and spreads to either side. And that's gonna go into this assembly in the tail, which is pretty sweet. So if you're looking through your nut and bolt sack, you need to be aware that the instructions will outline more screws than you actually need from this sack, okay?
Yes.
It's gonna sound like you don't have enough if you look through the instructions because they're assuming you're gonna be assembling a few of these things that you don't actually have to then assemble, namely the nose gear.
Yep.
I'm assuming that people had problems assembling this and so they just decided, hey, why don't we just do that? And by the way, that is sweet.
That is really cool.
It's very cool.
And you'll have the little sticker on the front of your manual that says to check for like updates. We checked and there were no updates that we could see from what ours says in terms of like CG and stuff. But
That's what
if
she
it
said.
seems wrong,
Okay. So as you can see in here, we have a well-organized opening here. Looks like the same servos that we saw earlier. Light controller. Got the AR631 in here, which the difference between the 630 and the 631 is an external antenna. And if you're buying from our links below, we only link to the 631 because personally, I don't.
and plug locations.
Oh, and the plug
630
locations. The
is
630
end pin.
is an end pin, which I'd really like the end pin for all of them. But anyway, that's just between you and Horizon, I suppose. The point is that if you want to have an antenna-less operation, you can do that, but I just kind of believe in antennas. So anyway, that's why I linked to those, and you might see that there is such a thing as an AR630. I just always do the 631. So you can see we have an, looks like an EC3. We got one of these annoying wire warnings about, oops, oh, ripped right off, sorry. Don't stick your hand in the prop and get it cut off, that's bad. Don't do that. This is not magnetically attached, okay? So we should be good to go. So I really like the way the Pilot looks. The instrument cluster looks a little bit not good.
Really?
No, it's too big, but whatever, who cares?
Okay.
It's fine. I mean, it's okay. It just looks a little bit weird.
Okay.
It's a little bit oversized.
Is there carbon fiber on both sides?
Yep, carbon fiber on both sides, nice stiff and strong fuse. And everything looks great in there. It looks like we share the rudder servo with the steerable nose gear. Nose gear assembly is complicated. Look inside of there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then strong brass doohickey to hold the canopy. So that's nice, and it will self-retract, so let's try that. Nice, I like that. It seems like we get a lot of planes with canopies that are hard to pull off. I don't know why that is. I think it's one of those adjustments that's hard to get an assembler in a Chinese plant to care about. It's like the jig never quite lines up or what the deal is. Because they do a lot of the assembly really nice, but that just seems to be one of the things that they don't do nice. I don't know why. So it is what it is. The good news is it's very easy adjustment for mechanical trims on the rudder and the steerable nose gear, which is cool, beautiful embedded pinch hinge. See, we've got these embedded hinges and otherwise pinch hinge, so it looks just like a real one. And then of course, the anti-crash beacon on the top. Decals look really nice. Okay, so without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and do the assembly right now. They suggest the wing first, right?
Yes. So you're gonna not do that?
You may have noticed our box. I couldn't have that box in like 4 pieces. That would have been embarrassing. Okay, so looking to this little attachment point, mine has some ripping and stuff here. It must be thin foam. Not that it matters, it's all gonna be hidden. But just wanted to show you that quick detach. And of course your carbon fiber joiner rod or spar, whatever you wanna call that, goes through like this. And then you can kind of get it started while it's on its side. There's an arrow facing forward on there. I don't know why that is. Probably because when they're building this from jig, they don't necessarily know what direction everything is sitting. And then that lines up. Wow, that is so nice. And by the way, all those servos are now plugged in, which is sweet. Very easy assembly. This is not a very big plane. So to be perfectly frank with you, Horizon, I know that a lot of people want planes to come apart, but this plane is small. Like, you don't really need it to come apart. Although, if you need it to come apart, you can get this in an extremely small, I mean, you could backpack this plane. So that is really cool. But my concern is that you have a carbon Z-Cub that takes, 47 screws to take apart still because of the wing struts. Okay, so it goes right in. Now, camera crew, I'm gonna have you put your hand down here just to help. The dihedral does make the step, oh, it's all the way in. It's all the way in. Is it?
Looks like it.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I think it's in. It's hard to tell. Some of these planes, it's really kind of hard to tell when you get good purchase on the wing. Love the dihedral, but the dihedral does make it a little bit hard to push the wing in, okay? So I think we're all the way in. But you see what I'm saying? There's a bit of a gap here.
But I think
you're lined up.
lined
See, your
up.
screws are gonna pull it all the way in.
Yeah.
So I guess in that case, let's go ahead and get the screws from the nut and bolt sack.
This should be the short ones.
The short ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the longer ones are for the...
So there's a total of 6 small screws, short screws, like this. And then there is 4 long screws. The 4 long screws go to the landing gear. And they're not retracts. Did I say retracts earlier?
Oh. think you did.
If I did, I apologize. They're not retractable landing
were
gear
a
on this
little-
plane.
Excited about that one. But I don't think you said retracts.
What was I excited about?
The plane?
I am. I like this plane a lot. This plane is awesome. It's everything I wanted it to be so far. I mean, sometimes you get a plane, like, let me give you an example. There was a twin engine plane from a competitive brand that rhymes with Schneinem, and it was terrible. And I wanted it for years, and it sucked bad. It was
yeah, I know what you're
horrible.
talking about.
Blue and white color.
The props didn't come off of it at all.
Wait, did they?
Yes. Oh, like twice.
Not once, but twice.
Twice.
The B-27 went off and went up like a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like a UFO, like, it was the coolest part of that plane.
Yeah.
Actually, that B-27 was pretty cool. It was just
It was.
terrible assembly. Guys, that's the thing. You know, you can't discount the fact that you get this thing out of the box, you throw the stuff all over the place, make a huge mess, your cats play with the stuff, and it's just an overall positive experience.
Yep.
And the camera crew and I are not fighting over how terrible the experience is going.
It's much more enjoyable.
It is like 100 times more enjoyable.
It is.
You guys don't see the off camera when things are getting thrown at my head. And knives. We got to take all the knives out of the kitchen. When we're doing a dining review,
Yeah. Why do you think our kitchen looks like this?
we de-knife the kitchen.
Only because of Dynam.
Yeah, it's because of Dynam.
You have all 4 of those in already?
Yeah, I just
Nice.
screwed them right in. So, that being said, 4 long screws. They're about twice as long as the shorter ones.
Yeah.
These are super easy, guys. Some of these assemblies are ludicrous, the number of screws. Horizon, E-flite. This is just so much easier. Oh, you know what that little screw's for? Antenna.
Oh.
Yeah. There's one little self-tapper, and it's for the antenna. By the way, they include a bind plug on this plane for some reason, but you don't need a bind plug because you can get to the receiver very easily. I'm gonna just drop that down there so it's easy to find.
You grab those little white covers.
I have them, yep, in my fingers.
Okay.
Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, in case you're watching.
You put your pants on backwards a lot.
I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like the next guy. See, one leg. Jeez, stop moving, plane. We have a plane stand. What are we doing?
I even got it out for you.
Well, I know, but I just want to show it dirty. I don't want to be doing this the right way. It's too easy.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so there's a total of 3 holes, but it looks like we only need to use 2.
Yes.
What the heck is that all about?
I
don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
I just have an extra hole. Doesn't mean you have to put something in it.
Well, listen, it's there. It's obviously there for a reason.
No. That's not how that goes.
There's a reason, I suppose, but
It's not to
kind
put
of a
some-
crappy
It's not to
reason.
put something in.
Horizon, if you're listening, we apologize for the last 30 seconds. Oh, boy. Or anybody we know. We've been abducted. Send help. Send a
that.
large pizza. Sausage and
Ooh.
pepperoni.
Can we get one of those?
Yes, if you're watching 3 weeks ago, send sausage and pepperoni pizza. All right, here we go, guys. We're just gonna tighten this in. I legit don't know why there's another hole there. Like, we were both kind of debating about it.
No, I was reading the directions and you were questioning my reading ability.
Yes. The covers are just kind of like a little bit of a misnomer because if you'll look at the cover, there's a bigger hole than there is a cover.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like, you know, maybe you might want to make that hole the same size and shape as the cover. You know, just saying.
Yeah, it is a little
weird.
weird.
Like, did they want us to see this? Is this like a visual inspection point?
It's a decorative detail.
Before each flight, please inspect the wing mount. Danger could befall anybody within a 10 million mile radius. Did you check the bend? I can just imagine the Horizon tech support calls. Did you check the bend? What about the AR-631? Oh, you have an AR-630? I quit. I'm just like you.
You are not like anyone.
Ooh, yeah. It's so good.
That's cool.
I love the way it looks. General aviation planes are one of my favorites.
You don't say.
And I have a lot of cool planes. Now, don't get me wrong, I like missiles and bombs too. But the thing is, I love a good general aviation plane because it's achievable, it's reachable. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why I love YouTube. Because I can go onto YouTube and I can see a video about a plane that I could never achieve. And then I can quickly click away from it and go to something that I could. And I think that's part of the reason why we have some traction on YouTube. And yet you'll watch so much better stuff. And you're like, wait, but there's like 20 people watching your video. What the heck? And I think it's just something about achievability. You know, like this is something that you could buy right now from the link in the description below. You'd be supporting our channel and you could fly it, which is pretty sweet. Unlike watching, you know, like some, you know, Mike Patey character who's got an amazing multi-million-dollar hangar that he just randomly does without a lav mic. Mike, if you're watching, that is totally a respectful comment, I promise. And you can see this beautiful creature that he's building, but it's like nobody could do that except for Mike Patey. And someday I want to be like you when I grow up, Mike Patey. But anyway, I think that there's just something about achievability that draws people. Because I'm the same way. You know, like I don't get online and look up Lamborghinis. I get online and, you know, look at 2011 Chevy Traverses because my air conditioning is broken.
You fixed it, thank you.
Well, that was like a year ago. And I don't get online and look at the bells and whistles on the most expensive dishwasher. I look up my own dishwasher, the one that's broken, except it's not.
It's just the door, kind of it.
You wait. When you have a family our size, your dishwasher gets destroyed. It's kind of gross.
Yeah.
How bad they are.
How is that?
How are dishwashers so crappy?
They are really, they're getting
It's like
worse.
you'd think they've had hundreds of years. Wait, they haven't actually had
Not
hundreds of years. They've had like part of 100 years.
Yeah, I was going to say like a half of a
Okay, so guys, look at this incredible assembly. This is incredible. I think that's a counterweight there.
Wait.
This is cool. They must have spent a fortune designing this plane. This is really cool, guys. You know, do you think they would ever have an assembly that looks like this on a Dynam?
Whoa.
No. I just wanted to answer that question. The answer is an astounding no. I am shaking the camera crew's hand in a very violent but loving way.
They would have it. It
Is
just
that
wouldn't work?
that is totally
worth the
wrong.
crap. That's upside down.
How do you know?
Oh.
How will they know? They'll not know. Oh, that's the bottom.
Directions.
I'll read the directions.
Do we read the directions to you?
I don't want to read the directions.
Are you?
That doesn't feel right, actually. It feels better the other way. Oh, yeah, that's good. That totally fits better. Ha! That totally fits better. I think it fits better. Don't you?
Yeah. I mean, it seemed like it went on better.
I mean, it's stuck
But-
down in the hole. There was a relief.
Yeah.
Show them the relief. Okay, remove the three 1.5 by 8 millimeter self-tapping screws holding the tail cover in place. Locate the horizontal stabilizer in the box that you threw at your cats on the elevator pivot assembly and secure it to assemble with two 3 by 8 millimeter screws. They don't say anything.
I think you have it the right way.
I mean, I agree that I do as well. But I'm just saying, like, it's kind of ambiguous. Okay, look how nice and tight that fixture is.
Yeah.
Now let's flip it. Sometimes you just got to put it the wrong way to see that it's not right.
That doesn't seem right.
It doesn't. This seems right. Okay? This has got to be the most ambiguous top and bottom I've ever seen on a tail.
Yeah.
It's very symmetrical. Guys, this plane is really well built. I'm surprised. This is like one of those planes where I've wanted it for years. And, you know, when we started working with Horizon, we got so busy that it was like insanity. I mean, we were busy before, and now we're like really, really busy. And it's not because we've gotten so much more subscribers. What have we grown, like 25,000 or something like that since we started?
Really?
Yeah, it's not really like that much more huge. I got to get some forceps or I'm going to drop the screw into the wing, or I'm not into the wing, but the fuse. Hey, should I use needle nose or forceps? Because like not everybody has forceps. What do you think? Let's try with forceps and needle nose. Needle nose, hey, needle nose, a little bit easier, more accessible. Forceps for those of you who have doobies.
Rabies or babies?
I said doobies. I was coughing so that people wouldn't hear it. Now I have to check that box that says this video is not made for children. Thanks a lot, camera crew. We don't make videos for
Don't
children.
worry, it was still not made for children.
We make videos and then children.
Jeez.
It's terrible. Horizon, if you're listening, we apologize for the last 20 seconds of commentary.
Are you even screwing in the right hole?
Wait, no. I wanted to show with the needle nose pliers and you ruined it again. Okay, so needle nose pliers would work. Grab the head of the screw like this. Ow! And then stick it in.
Okay.
But I used forceps, which is cheating. The reason that the forceps works so much better is that the pivot point is way back here, which means that the head can be collapsed and it's thin compared to this, where the pivot point is also back far, but it's thick here. And so what happens is you get into tight spots and you can't actually go because it's too big. That's why forceps are nice. Also, some forceps have pivot points way out here, which is weird, but you can go like way into a tight spot like this and then open the forceps, which sounds really awkward, and yet it can be super gratifying to go deep inside and then just let loose. Jeez, camera crew. Calm down over there. Jeez. Horizon, if you're listening.
They quit.
They're like, we can't watch this. Our parents stopped us from watching this channel. So in case you were wondering, YouTube, since we're addressing all of our people, this channel is not made for children. We make this footage, and then adults watch, and they enjoy, and then they buy for their adult children, like me.
Yes.
See, so it is sort of made for children, adult children.
Act like a child.
Adult children, children that laugh at jokes that we say. So when our audience gets big enough, then we'll have to stop these remarks. Oh, that did not feel good. That felt like it was stripping. You know, it's not impossible that it is, but I guess at this point, what does it matter at this point anyway?
Hey, what's my
man.
floor?
That dented the floor. No, it didn't.
You're the one that has to fix that
I
floor.
put this down when I strategically, cinematic element. Not somatic. Jeez, what are we, it's like Jewish channel or something here. Okay, here we go. Have we offended everybody yet? We're working.
We're working on it.
hard
We're
today.
not done with the video.
All right, stick the tip in the tip, and then relax. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. Whoa! It came right out. Awkward. Awkward. There it is.
Oh, look, there's lights up here.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you didn't point them out.
I'm sorry. Anybody that wanted to know. Oh, okay, so this is a countersunk hole. Come on, Horizon. Why do you have to use a special prop for every plane? Good lordy lord. You couldn't just use a regular prop.
Nope.
You had to use a special one. Mike Patey would never do that.
Except he would have built his himself.
He would have. That was the whole joke. But thank you for elaborating. That was a miss.
Why did you take...
Hey, you know what I need? You know what I need? I think I need a crescent wrench. I'm going to show you the trick of the day. Trick of the day,
We
people.
don't have crescent
You've been waiting for hours for this trick of the day. Crescent wrench. This is actually not even a crescent
gonna
wrench.
say.
It's a sizable wrench. A crescent wrench would have the word crescent with a trademark. Did you know that?
I did.
Okay, let's look. Okay, that modified washer goes next. Oh yeah, buddy. This is a 12/8 Cub ST.
Why are you taking it all apart?
Because I want to show the people the trick of the day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the trick of the day is that this collet is already compressed slightly. This part inside is called a collet. And when you tighten the nut and washer in here, it pulls this fixture. It pulls this fixture all the way through. This is separate from this fixture, okay? Right tool for the job.
Is this the trick of the day?
The trick of the day. Okay, so check this out. I'm gonna just take this. Oh, geez, I couldn't have. No, I didn't. I didn't just mark that, did I?
No, it was.
Okay,
marked.
it was. I was like, geez, that was like really easy. Okay, see, I'm loosening this. Sometimes they thread in like this, okay? So what I want to show you is what is going on here. See how those are two separate pieces? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is a learning opportunity for the new pilots out there. Okay, so you see how this has texture on it? That helps grip. This shaft is a, put your hand out. Do you feel how light that is?
That's crazy.
I know, it's aluminum. Okay, see this? Gap, 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 gap. Watch what happens. Ooh, it squeezes. Okay, watch what happens. Ooh, it squeezes. You see how it's squished? Mm-hmm. Okay, when this goes in here, it goes tight. And then it pulls tight, and then that bites the shaft hard.
Oh my.
See how I just opened that up? Mm-hmm. The reason I took it all apart, camera crew, Miss Nosy Nose, so I could do that. Okay, now I'm gonna stuff this back in there, and you'll notice it's wanting to spin, spin. So I'm gonna grab, oh, you son of a gun. You son of a gun. See how I did that? Another trick of the day. That one's no extra charge. See this? I spun it all the way back. Spun it all the way back. Okay, it's all the way back. Okay. Then slide this back. Okay. Make sure you're seated all the way back. And then when you tighten this knot, it's going to do some amazing things and bite the shaft. Okay? Because it's pulling the fixture through, thus tightening the pedals. There's 5 in this example, there'd only be 4. The pedals tighten onto the shaft. And then the prop can tractor the plane forward. It can pull the plane forward because tractors pull, generally. Sometimes they push, but mostly they pull. Mine pushes and pulls. Depends on what I'm doing with it. Yes, we review tractor stuff on this channel. Stop giving me grief. I know you're here for radio controlled stuff. Tractors are cool. Live with it. You know you need a tractor to have such an awesome piece of property. That's right, buddy! We should have painted the tips on this. Oh, wow. What if we painted the tips on this? I just got a tremendous idea.
I have to go get my stuff.
Let's totally paint the tips, people. We're gonna dip the tip and come right back. Okay, so we're gonna get the assembly done really quick before we do the prop stuff. So I wanna show you how to check the balance on all this good stuff too. So we'll show you that all at once. But we gotta get this assembly done because I feel like we're sort of cheating with our marketing ploy here to sell nail polish on an RC channel. Just kidding, guys. It actually does an awesome job. Okay, so this is the antenna. It's the last thing that goes on. And I think it goes, oh, that's sweet. So you pull the antenna back. Okay, how does that fit? How do you fit? Is that right?
Like that?
That looks, I think that's right.
Really?
Yeah, it looks right. It's kind of hard to tell. So we'll give you guys an extreme close up here in a second.
Is that in the directions?
No, of course. The other random weird thing.
Oh, no, that's linkages.
It doesn't talk about it. So this is why you watch our wonderful Unbox build radio setups. Mostly for the radio setup has been our experience. A lot of you guys need help on the radio setup. And that's why you come watch our channel. I mean, you got the RC Sailors if you want to see what the plane looks like after it was crashed. We would crash our planes here too. We just don't make up stories about why it happened.
It has to go backwards, like pointed.
It goes this way. It goes like this. Look, people. Stick it in like this. And then it rocks up. Is that right? I don't know. I think, yeah, that's actually pretty sweet right there. Gosh, they spent a lot of money on special dies and stuff for this.
Yeah.
That's like crazy. I mean, I love this plane, but, oh, by the way, if you guys are wondering, because I like to know how things work, okay? That's just the way I'm geared. Okay, you may have noticed. So I assume that you also want to know how things work. So sometimes I go into detail on things that are stupid or you don't care about. Well, sorry. Better luck with the RC sailors on that. Here's the thing. This channel is all about learning. It's all about improving yourself as an RC pilot and just kind of making it to the next level. That looks sweet. I don't even know if that's on the front or the back, to be honest. It doesn't matter. It looks cool. When you buy a plane from Horizon and it says something like Piper, you'll notice that's actually spelled right and it's actually the right word. Unlike, you know, Boeing from Chinese, sometimes you'll get your Boeings that are actually Boeings. Well, they pay royalties to these companies to make a plane like this. So when and if airliners would be released, I'm just saying, if they would be, not like I have the inside scoop or anything, you may be disappointed in the airline company that they choose. Well, you can get to the big companies and say, hey, work with Horizon. I'm sure they'll not listen, but you can try anyway. Because not only do they have to pay royalties on this, but they don't want their name trashed. They want to know that it's a good plane. So when Horizon makes a plane and it's branded, like for instance the Draco, the people that make the original plane don't want their reputation tarnished by some company that does a crappy job. They trust Horizon, they trust E-flite. That's why you see branded stuff from companies like Horizon. And you don't see branded stuff from companies like... Did I do that? Was that good enough?
That was good. Got it.
And we do enjoy learning, moving up in the ranks. Look at that. That thing is sweet looking. I love the way this plane looks. That is awesome. It's every bit as awesome as I had hoped it would have been. All right, so now the next step, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do the prop. The prop is going to be beautiful. It's gonna be black and white. We could do yellow. Yellow would be sweet still, but I think this plane really just needs something cool and extra. And so that's why we're gonna paint its nails. Did you get me a rag?
Oh, no, I got you rubbing alcohol.
So 2 colors. This is called lemon meringue.
Meringue, like the
Meringue.
dance.
Lemon meringue. Okay, all right, cool. So this is called Gel Moment, one word. You can click in the links above. It's like in our Support Us area of the description. If you go further down, we have specific items like this plane. We'll have a link to it in the E-flite planes. But if you ever want to support us, there's a few different ways. Obviously, you can buy stuff from our links, which is great because then we make small commissions. Some are a little bit bigger, some are a little bit less. Just depends on what we're reviewing and kind of the relationship we have with the companies who we're working with. And then some of them, and by the way, we'll still tell you it sucks, even if they send it and we're trying to sell things for this company. If it's terrible, we're gonna let you know. Because here's the thing, we have confidence that these companies that we work with are going to provide us good stuff. And then maybe not everything is like our taste, but if it sucks, we're gonna tell you that. And we've done it in the past, and you know, it happens. And you know what? The companies we work with, they still work with us. You know why? Because they understand some stuff is just not gonna be a hit. But we still review it because some of you ask us to review certain items. And other times, like I just really, really wanna do a plane. And then I find out it sucks. And then other times we do a plane because we were asked to do a plane. And then other times we do planes because it was a new release. And then other times we do a plane because we've done it in the past and maybe we didn't like the way it worked out. So we do it again to see if we can have better luck with it. So there's a lot of reasons that we do it on this channel. They all kind of meet the same mission, which is to help people that are getting back into the hobby, to learn how to get back in the hobby because things have changed a ton in the last 20 years. Secondly, to help new people get into the hobby. And then thirdly, to help people advance through the ranks in the hobby. We're not here just to sell stuff. That's just the way that we kind of facilitate this channel and the time investment that we're making as a family. And believe me, it is a family investment. The kids invest time just like we invest time, the camera crew and I. So in case you're wondering, when you do support us, you'll be supporting us and supporting the family. It's pretty obvious, shouldn't have to be said, but you guys get it. We're just real people with real jobs and real hobby and real enthusiasm for what we're doing. Okay, so we're just bringing it to you in a different and creative way than some of the other people do. So that being said, lemon meringue, and then what's this thing called? Meet me at the chapel. Meet me at the chapel?
It's white. It's nail polish.
So it's not off-white?
It's not tester's paint.
Somebody eat the chapel?
Words
Off-white?
better.
Just kidding. This is an adult channel. Hopefully you get it.
I have champagne toast. Would you like that one? It'd be a more appropriate color.
So, getting back to the point, we're gonna use a balancer today. This is called the Dubrow balancer. Dubrow's a brand, they make stuff. If you're into the hobby, you'll know about Dubrow. It's American made stuff, generally speaking. Of course, they sell stuff that's made in China too, I think. This thing spins on 2 big wheels that have bearings. You see how easy that spins? The idea is that if the prop is not balanced, it's gonna lean one way or the other. You can actually do the same thing with a spinner, okay? It's a little bit harder to set these up. There's a piece of gas tube on here, then a washer, then a spring, then 2 angular points. You can point them together, you can point them away, you can point them in whatever configuration meets your fancy. Then there is a fixed point, okay? This is fixed, it's part of the rod, okay? I would have my camera crew work my rod, but she's on the other side of the camera, so she can't for this one. I'll just have to grin and bear it. That isn't gonna work because you'll have nowhere to lay this, so you have to go the other way. In this case, it might work good to do this. I don't know. The idea is whatever you do, it needs to be tight and it needs to be secured. So I'm showing you this because in the past, people have given me trouble about not doing this right, and you would be correct because I'm lazy. And so I am going to do this the correct way. Incidentally, my grandpa gave me this. It was a tool he used and I never really used because I just used tape and spun it up to speed. Okay, so you can see if that prop spinner is balanced by turning it and then letting it fall. You can see it's obviously not balanced, okay? Look, see? It spins. It's got a heavy point. Where's the heavy point, camera crew?
On the bottom.
Mm-hmm. So what do we do to fix it?
Don't know. Sanding block.
You can sand one side or you can put weight on the other side. It's always easier to take away material, but there are limits to that. So I'm gonna just take a sanding block, take a little bit of material. I'm just taking a little bit of material from the corner there because it's not gonna be seen. And this is probably getting into the weeds on a plane of this size and caliber, but this is how you balance a spinner. Now, some guys will take CA and they will drip on the inside. At the farthest point from the center is going to create the largest lever. If you put it right on the tip, it's too close to the center. So the centripetal force is not the same here as it is out here. So think of a lever. If a lever was this long, you'd be able to put just hardly any weight out here and it would make a huge impact on the center of balance on this mass, okay? So the idea is you want to go out as far as you, and sometimes these things bind up, so you just kind of have to spin it until it goes. Some people will just give it a little spin, and that works fine on a spinner, but not necessarily on a prop, because the prop is, well, this one will spin all the way around, but some of them are too big, and they'll hit the table or whatever. Okay, so we're still a little bit heavy on this side. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit more. You see how I just took out that corner? I'm going to take out this corner. Then I'm going to do just a little bit here, and do just a little bit there, and eventually I'm gonna go at a slight angle because you don't want to see it. The reason we show you guys these steps is not because we want to embarrassingly embarrass ourselves for not knowing what we don't know yet, because we're going through this process with you. We're learning a lot every time we build a plane. We just want to teach you the right ways to do things if possible. Sometimes we don't do things the right way because we're in a hurry, because we're filming, because we got better things to do, or we just don't care. It just kind of depends on the situation, and everybody's going to care a little bit more, a little bit less, just depends on what you're into. So if you see a step you don't care about, you can always skip this step and just pick up where we get back to the assembly, for instance. You're not going to be hurting our feelings, but YouTube will assume that you hate us and you want to see us off the air. So when you skip parts, just know that you are hurting our statistics, and it does make a difference on recommendations. Recommendations are also known as the algorithm on YouTube. YouTube gives clout to those that have better retention. So what we try to do is we try to keep it fun and exciting for everybody that's watching the whole way through. That's why we make 4-hour videos, because everybody has 4 hours to watch us build a plane. It's getting better, but it's still heavy. It's still got a distinct heavy spot. Okay, but it's going slower. There is going to be a point where you just basically gotta say it's good enough. Okay, so I'm taking a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And you just keep doing that. Make sure you remove the debris because it's not very heavy. Okay? And we're just gonna let it go. Now you can actually put the whole prop assembly together too, okay? And you can balance the whole thing, but then you need to mark where you're lining things up. Okay, it's getting closer. Now, here's another trick. If you wanna see just how much it's gonna take, watch this. You can take a piece of tape like this, and you can put it on the other side and just see how big of a difference you need to make. See, watch. See? That's a pretty big difference. So we got to remove a lot of material to make up that much weight. So that's one way of doing it. I think we're probably not gonna go too much more in the weeds on this one, but here's another trick. You can take an X-Acto knife and you can take away material, okay? The sanding block doesn't work good here because you can't get it in as good, but you see what I'm doing? I'm shaving from the inside so you don't see it. But I'm taking off quite a bit of material, and I'm trying to go out as far as possible. You saw those chunks? Pretty big chunks. Okay, so now let's give it a spin. Still got a heavy spot. So really, I want this side and this side to be ambidextrous, okay? So I just don't want it to stop down like that. I want it to stop irregular, just wherever it happens to stop. So we're still a little bit heavier on this side. Now there's also material up in here that can be taken out if you decide to do that. But again, I'm not gonna go super far on this. I'm just gonna take a little bit more material on this side. You can use the back side of the blade to take a little bit of that edge off. And then I'm gonna take a little bit of this edge off here because that's easy to take off without losing anything. And I'm using the inside edge there. And that inside edge is easier to hide because then the outside, it'll be like a cope on trim, if you know anything about trim. Coping. Not like a coping mechanism like my wife uses to deal with me. Different type of cope. There's lots of things you could look up online when you see a Brian Phillips RC video, but you'll have to use the Urban Dictionary for most of them. And believe me, some of the things that we say that we think we know, the Urban Dictionary will set us straight. Hopefully Grandma's not watching this. Or if Grandma works for Horizon especially. All right, so we're tightening this on again. I'm just gonna press this in. Sometimes you gotta tighten that because it will let loose a little bit. Well, there's definitely still a low point there. Still got a little bit of weight. Okay, we're gonna keep working until we get it right. I just want you guys to see that it can be done. It's not like you absolutely have to have this perfect because the plane will fly without balancing this. It's just you're gonna hear that, but it'll fly okay still, unless it rips off. If it rips off, it won't fly good. Because you gotta remember, these things are spinning pretty quick. Ooh, that's looking good, looking better. See how it stopped? Still got a low point though. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. So I'm gonna just take a bunch off then, because I'm kind of sick of screwing around with it. Look like a cheese grater. Yeah, there's just a lot of imbalance there. But it's still minor. Okay, so let's just assume that that was perfect, which it's not. I'm gonna show you the next trick. Trick of the day, trick of the day, trick of the day. Now we're gonna show you this before and after. We're gonna show you this before and after. Like this, that's a flat. You don't want that because it's gonna have play. So you go back to the pointed surface. Okay. So there, now it self-centers. And then same thing here, it self-centers. And then the spring is gonna go down, and then the washer, and then the gas tube, which Dubrow assumes everybody has like 47,000 feet of gas tube because everything they use needs gas tube. It's like, here's a tip. If you don't have gas engines, you don't have gas tube. Fuel tube. Okay, so which side's heavier, camera crew?
Well, the side that's down, no. The side that's towards me.
That looks pretty dang good, actually. Oh, yeah, this side? Did you say this side?
Yeah.
Okay, so you leave it on the fixture. And all you gotta do is just take a little bit of material off. Usually I like to sand both sides, the leading edge and trailing edge, and just be real sparing because you'll be surprised how quick it will balance. Sometimes it takes a lot, sometimes it doesn't. This spinner was kind of weird. Had to take a lot of material to get that close.
You're gonna balance it before you
Yep, I'm showing
paint
people
it?
how to do it in case they don't paint it. Okay, so the painting is obviously gonna throw off the center, the balance as well. But then there's also other things that can cause a vibration on an engine, and like a loose mount, okay? Sometimes that happens, and if you have a loose mount, you gotta tighten it. Sometimes the motor itself is loose from the mount, sometimes the mount is loose from the airframe. It allows it to bend, or not bend, but fling around. Ooh, that's looking really, really good. You can always tell when it starts getting like a speed up, slow down, because it's always gonna find the heavy spot. It does look really good though.
Mm-hmm. It does.
It's surprising. This is one of those like strangely satisfying things. It's not hard, but it does take time. And so my recommendation to you is if you're a new pilot, to be honest, don't even bother with this. You're gonna break your prop quick enough anyway. And don't take that the wrong way. I was a new pilot once too. Just fly. Just fly.
Yep. And
Just
then
fly.
fix it.
And then
Learn to
fix it.
Stuff.
Yep.
And you'll learn a
Hot
lot
glue,
just from fixing
CA, kicker.
Yep.
Kicker is what makes CA set instantly. When you were a kid, if you built a balsa wood model, you did not have kicker. Kicker makes the world go round when you're new.
Well, if you're a kid as old as you are.
If you're a 37-year-old kid. We're close.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit more. Remember, more on the tip than on the inboard portion. Inboard, outboard, just like a wing, I think. I'm going at an angle consistent with taper. See how there's a taper on the wing? I'm not trying to sharpen it so I can like cut my hand off. I'm just trying to, and in fact, I'm taking the sharp edge off. Sharp edges are good for airflow, but they're not necessarily good for chopping my hand off. Well, they're good for chopping your hand off, if that's what you're going for. Oh, it keeps going, see? So it's still heavy, okay? Now, watch this. Back side of the blade. A little bit more, because I'm getting sick of doing this. Yes, you can do this to an EDF, an electric ducted fan, but my experience on EDFs, it's a lot easier to just take them out, put a drip of glue on the opposite side, get it balanced out the way you want, then go to the opposite side, take a very small drill bit and just drill a little bit of surface out. Okay, and that's another thing you can do. You take surface out. See, there's a little bit of a blob up there. See the blob? See that blob? You see that? Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's on the light side, so I can't take it off. So balance, leave it balanced. Does it fall? It still falls. A little bit more. Guys, you don't think it's ever gonna get balanced? I understand what you're thinking. You're like, Brian, it's probably good enough, just leave it. Well, I know, I'm kind of feeling the same way, but it's not true. It will get balanced. And remember, a little bit heavier on the tip because that's where the leverage is. That's where, you can take a little bit off here, you can take a ton off here, okay? And yes, you can actually take a drill and drill a hole through this. I would not recommend it. It's very hard to do that without making a mess, potentially compromising your prop. Okay. Okay, leave it halfway, see which way it goes. Wow. What do you think of that, camera crew?
That's pretty good.
I would say it's balanced.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're done with that step now. So now check this out. Now, if you want, thank you for keeping an eye, it's right next to your belly. Okay, you can take this and you can assemble every piece of it with the exception of that piece because you have to, and ultimately there's gonna be some pieces you can't put on. Okay, you can literally build the entire thing if you want. Not that, you can't do that thing because you need this to go in and find the center of that, okay? See how that's on the center? Okay, so then you can actually build You can build this assembly if you want. I don't normally do that, but you can actually do that technically. And you can see how it bounces out. So I'm curious if this is gonna work. It may not work because we don't have the nut to hold it tight. Whoa. Okay, now check this out. Check this out. It's on the inboard, so it's very hard to balance that way, okay? See? You see how much tape I'm adding to get it to balance?
So that's probably because of the nose cone now,
Just
right?
hold on. It's a combination there, yeah. We're getting close. I just want to demonstrate this is all about learning. This is not about doing. It's not hard to balance a prop. It's hard to learn how to balance a prop without any help. See? See how much I've added? Some guys will balance a prop inside their spinner. They'll actually take, you know, like glue or build up, and they'll stick it inside the spinner. You see how much I put on there to try to get that thing to balance?
That seems
Excessive, right?
yeah.
And it still wants to go down this way. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Now check this out. Take that same weight, put it out at the end of the lever. All day long, she's gonna hang down, okay? So check this out. There's another trick. If you don't have a spinner, or if you don't have a bouncer like this, what you do is you basically take some tape, and you're careful not to get the oils from your skin all over it. What you do is you say, okay, which one's heavy? You don't know because it's spinning on the prop. You do this from the plane, okay? So you stop, you land, and then you stick this onto the leading edge of the wing. Prop, sorry. And then you go back, you spin it up, carefully hold it, and you listen to whether it, if it gets worse or better, okay? So in this case, we would need to put more because it's still heavy, okay? That's because of the spinner, by the way. But the spinner's not perfectly balanced, okay? Because we don't have the nuts and stuff in there. Okay, so now, because we have this on the spinner, I can do this really quick and teach you. See how perfect that is? So the big thing is, now you know how much tape to put on there, and you can take this tape off, and you can get really darn close, and you can do a really nice job of applying the tape to the leading edge. And you can do it really clean, so it doesn't get lifted in the wind, okay? So you know you need about that much. So it's like, okay, so I need about this much. And then you can sit there and get really specific about it and really get that thing to adhere nicely. And just follow along the groove. And you just get it to sit down perfect, okay? And then you'll do that 3 times or twice or whatever you needed. Okay, and then we'll stick this one on here and just get it really, really perfect. Get all the little bubbles out, make it so it's totally flat, okay, like this. And then if you really want to make it perfect, you can, because this is curved, you can find a couple of spots and cut a couple of slits.
Are you leaving that on?
No, I'll take it off. I know it's going to be hard to get off. See this? I'm teaching people. So now that will stay on there for a long time until you hit the prop on the ground. And look how perfect it is, or near perfect. Not absolute, but really, really darn close. Okay? That would be plenty good for a field application. You could do that on the plane and then you just spin it up. Is it better or worse? It's worse. Put it on the other side. Is it better or worse? It's worse. Put it on the other side. Put more. Is it better or worse? No, it's getting pretty good. Okay, put a little bit more. Is it better or worse? Nope, it's worse. Too much. Take it off. Start again. Eventually, in about 10 minutes, you'll have that thing just as good as it needs to be. And remember, there is a limit to that. You don't need these things perfect. It's not like this is going 10 million RPMs, you know? It's not like it's moving planet Earth. Did we get that all?
Yes.
Okay, so now that we've talked about way more detail than you needed, that's typical on Brian Phillips RC. We're gonna take this stuff apart, okay? And you guys can tell me how wrong we did that in the comments below. I'm sure you will, even without our encouragement. All right, so here we go. And that leads me to my next topic of conversation, which is, let's paint some nails. We're gonna pause, clean this surface, and come right back. All right, so coming back to the prop. I know this has been long. 25 minutes of bouncing a prop seems like a little bit much even for my camera crew. We're gonna do white this time instead of yellow. We did yellow the other day on the beaver. Yes, that's correct.
Roll to mix. Roll it.
I guess you're supposed to roll this to mix it, says the camera crew.
If you shake it, you'll make air bubbles.
Okay, and then the air bubbles like cause death or what?
Yes.
Okay, alcohol, clean the tip, just like you would if you were painting your nails. Of course, I don't have a lot of experience with this, despite what some of you might think. Okay, so let that dry for a second, it's dry. So, two ways to do this. We're gonna do the front face. We're gonna do a simple masking job, okay? I'm just gonna, let's just say we wanna do that much, okay? However that much is. Okay, very simple. That's kind of a lot actually. Let's do a little bit less. How about this? You think that's appropriate?
Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna just lay one of these under here. By the way, this is gonna give you a finish commensurate to the Horizon Hobby tips, or better, which is pretty cool.
So you're not gonna mask the back?
No, I'm just masking the front.
Super thin.
Super thin, guys, super thin. That's what the master says. Massa. Massa Camel Crew. Okay, so we're gonna do this, then we're gonna peel it, and then we're gonna put it under the lamp. And then we're gonna have our baseline for how big we're doing both. Is that thin enough?
Yeah, you should be able to see the black through it the first time, for the first coat.
Okay. There's some bubbles.
Way to go.
I know.
It will self-level if you let it sit for just a second.
Yeah, it does. It does a great job. It's perfect. It's like the best nail polish ever in the history of time. And I know nail polishes. I'm an expert on nail polishes. Look at that, how perfect that looks. Look how perfect that is. All right, so this is a cheap one. This is a more expensive one. This one does it in 60 seconds. This one does it in 45 seconds. Okay, we're gonna do this one first. All it does is the paint cures with the special type of light. These are LEDs, which is supposed to be good. So whatever that is. We'll link to Joe Moment. You can buy this and support the camera crew's efforts in selling these things. She always has perfect nails, that's why. So when 60 seconds is up, the light shuts off, you know that you're set.
Yep.
So we'll probably show you the first one just so you can see that we're not doing camera tricks on you. Believe me, we don't care near enough to do fancy camera tricks. Like for instance, if there's, you know, like a camera crew flying the airplane, there would be absolutely zero reason for us to fake and have her not actually fly. I'm not sure who would ever do that, why we would ever do that. It'd be ridiculous. But there was some grumblings on another competitive channel about this. I don't think we were the object of that, but if we were, are you serious? Like really? You think we got that much time on our hands? Dude. Doesn't smell at all.
It is.
Am I safe to touch this?
Yes, it's dry.
Oh, that is nuts.
I know, it's not crazy.
That is nuts.
It like still
It's
weirds me out.
like, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
That should not be dry. That's why you do that. Because now, after 20 minutes of bouncing your prop, you can go in there and bounce it right away. Okay?
Yep.
So, I need a marker. We're gonna replicate the length. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side, then we'll do a second coat. Okay, we're not looking for perfection here because we're gonna balance this anyway, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. I'm just looking for a quick reference. So I'm just making a mark, and I'm gonna make another mark. You see, that tells me how much I want.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's just, you know, you can do with a pen, whatever, doesn't matter. So I'm gonna lay this one down here, and I've got a reference mark. All right, it's simple. We're just doing the top, and then we'll do the bottom also, because I like the tips painted on both sides. Okay, so that should be really close. It's not perfect. It doesn't even have to be perfect. It has to be perfect to the naked eye. If you get somebody out measuring your tips with, you know, like calipers or something, stop being friends with that idiot.
And you are going to do multiple coats of
Yeah.
this because you want to build it up and have it cure.
Instead of do it like that, because
Yeah,
that's way too thick. Okay, you see how thick it came out on the tip? On the dipper? Whatever you call that thing. What do you call that thing?
That's a brush.
That is... that is pretty bad. Brian, that's a brush. You come here for the expertise.
If you swirl it while you pull it out, you get more paint off. You're wasting all my polish.
Hey, listen. I'm an expert on polish. I know all polishes. It's probably really frustrating to watch somebody else do this. It sucks.
Super frustrating.
Because you're like, Brian, you're making it look like garbage. Don't do it wrong. You have to do it right. They're going to drop me. Joe Moments is going to drop me. I'm never going to have clean nails again. Brian, I know you know polishes, but you don't. We're going to do this one this time. This one's just got a shorter light sequence, and also it's bigger for like your fingers. Like if you want to buy this stuff for your wife, for your wife, and then you can just like, hey, I need these 2 colors. They're really important to me in my life.
Yes.
I really want you to wear yellow on your fingers and white especially. Meet me at the altar. It reminds me of our marriage.
Shackle.
Shackle.
Chapel, not shackles. Jeez.
Meet me at the shackle. That's a jeez. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna buy this stuff. You're gonna get it shipped. You're gonna get it shipped for your anniversary. You're gonna tell your wife it's for her. It's really gonna be for you. That's what you're gonna do.
If you're, is it not? See, it's
That's so weird.
This is the professional lamp. If they're
It's
looking at it.
professional.
This
Totally professional. We don't mess around. This
This
is
is
amateur.
beginner.
Amateur hour. Okay? You'll notice we got more on this side than that side. I don't care. Moron. Did you get it? Puns every day. So you're supposed to spin this like that? Oh, okay. I'm going to come back to that tip, let that set for a second. We'll do a second coat. Now, once you get your first coat, it's super duper easy to just keep it on the same spot.
Yeah.
So you don't need, and this is where it comes down to just being precise with your strokes. Mm-hmm. And I have more experience with stroking than she does.
Really?
Well, I mean, we've been married for a long time. Not forever. So what we're gonna do this next time, we'll just dip the tip in both sides.
Okay.
But for now, we're gonna do the other side here. So really, if you guys are still watching, which is miraculous, we want you to see that there is a way to get an amazing finish on your tips. And it could actually be fingernails if you wanted, but generally speaking, I know you're not watching this for fingernail polish, but the thing is, I used to use Tester's paint and I never really felt like it was good. I always had problems, and it was extremely hard to balance the props because you had to wait forever for everything to dry, and I hate that. I hate waiting. It's the thing I do worst in life, is waiting. Okay.
Worst?
Probably.
I mean, it's on the list
It's on the short list.
of top worst things that you.
Patience is not my virtue.
Nope, it is not.
Impatience is. Okay, so that's pretty even, but it's thick. You think it's gonna cure? Might be a little bit
tiny
much.
bit thick.
Okay, I'm just gonna waste more. I know you're cringing when you see me do that.
You're buying me the new one, so it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure I am. All right, so we've got that tip clean, and now we can just double it up. So another trick of the day, which is why you're here, you can use 2 objects, even if they're round. You can set the thing on there, but they need to be the same thickness. So yeah, just give me another ultra fine or regular Sharpie. And here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna do, this one's a little bit thicker, so we'll put this one in the professional. We're gonna put the thicker one in the professional. Oh crap, it rolled. Crap, it rolled. Crap, it rolled. Sounds like something that they would put in the cockpit, like as a warning. Crap, it rolled. Crap, it rolled. Pull up, pull up. Crap, it rolled. You suppose they've got that in the Piper Cherokee 1.3? Oh, not the 1.3, maybe the real one. Crap, it rolled. So when this is done, we'll repeat the process and we will not make you watch both sides unless you want to.
Are you gonna do a third coat, or do you think that just
If they're even. Oh, so this one's supposedly done.
Yep.
This one,
You'll have
who
15
knows, we'll have to
more
wait
seconds.
another couple of seconds.
Yep.
It's the punishment for using cheap stuff.
There is a deluxe lamp that has a countdown timer, but it has a motion sensor, so it'd be hard to get the prop to hit the sensor. So that one is the best, the professional, for painting your tips.
Professional.
Here, hold on.
Oh, I got it on the backside. Oops.
We're
That's all
gonna
right.
paint the backside, right?
We're gonna paint the backside.
Here,
So-
wait.
I think we need to, what?
It's hard to see.
Oh, geez.
It's dry.
Yeah, but you like stabbed me with it. Goodness gracious, don't you love me? Is it dry? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's so scary. It's like I don't want to touch it, and then I touch it, and it's fine. It's so weird. Okay, now on the backside. Just so you can see how I do this, not necessarily we're gonna watch the whole thing because, to be honest, it's a lot quicker to not film this stuff, so we're gonna probably just do this off camera. But I'm gonna take a dip.
Are you gonna tape so you know, or you're just gonna freehand it?
I'm just gonna take and hold it sideways. Okay. And I'm gonna do one dot, and then I'm gonna go to the other side like this. And I'm gonna do another dot. Okay?
Okay, gotcha.
All right? And then from there, oh, dang it. I totally stuck it into the white stuff.
Rubbing alcohol.
Is that what it takes?
Yep.
Can I not just cure it onto my skin?
If you don't want it to come off, you can.
Okay. That's what we'll do then. I want it to last forever. Immortalized by
If you
gel
get it
moment.
somewhere where you don't want it, wipe it off with rubbing alcohol before you cure it. If you cure it, it's
What are you talking about?
staying on there. Like if you got it on your plane or your wife's counter,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
cure it. Just wipe it off with rubbing alcohol.
Well, if you cure it, you can flake it off. Eventually.
I would just get it off before you cure it.
Hey, this could also work for dental implants. Isn't that what they use?
It is non-toxic.
They just paint it on your tooth and then...
Sure.
Guys, you did not hear that here.
Yeah, don't do that.
Seriously, please don't do
not
that.
recommend that.
Please don't do that.
I thought we weren't showing them this. That's too thick.
I know. I'm taking most of it off.
Okay.
It does look a little bit...
You have to do 2 coats.
I know. I got to go to the other side and do the other side. So I'm just... What I meant to show the people at home was how I mark from the top to the bottom. Because I just take a mark because I can see from the side, and then that tells me where I need to do.
Yep.
So it's quite simple. See? And you can see I didn't even get a perfect line, but it's going to be plenty good. If you mask the top and the bottom, it's extremely hard to pull the masking off. So please do yourself a favor and don't do that like we did on the beaver. It's been a long time since I did this, since I dipped the tip like this.
It has been.
Okay. So now that I have, it's actually like really kind of hard to get it any thinner than that.
You can actually get a thinner
Oh,
brush.
for this? A thinner brush? Oh, just carry
only
less
for the
material.
white. The white can come with a thinner brush so that so it just be
Oh, so like you could do French
Yeah.
tips and stuff?
yeah, or paint your tips, prop tips.
Prop tips. You know, they should really add that to the list of applications. That
I
and
will-
tooth repair.
I'll let them know.
Let the Canadians know immediately.
If you're in Canada, they can still get it shipped.
What? Still get it shipped for what?
From Gel Moment if they buy stuff. Or Australia. Because not everybody that watches us is in America.
In America?
Yeah.
But we wish them happy 4th. What if they're British?
Sorry.
Be like, sorry, happy 4th, British.
Do they celebrate like a thank goodness we got rid of you day?
It's like, thank goodness we don't have that idiot anymore. We did enjoy the taxes, though. Oh well, better luck next time. Let's do Australia. Is that the way it goes?
We're just adding to our list of people that we've offended
Yes.
in this video.
I'm hoping. We just want to offend everybody in
Equal
one
opportunity.
video. No, actually, this gel moment, it seems like kind of tedious, but if you've ever done it with paint, you'll understand this is actually quite easy because this is going to be done in like 5 minutes
Yeah.
to 10 minutes. Whereas if you're painting, you're going to be done painting in 5 to 10 minutes if you're lucky, And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait like a day, maybe longer.
Ugh.
I know, it's terrible. Like I could never wait that long on the
No.
new plane. I'd be like, no, I'm just gonna like not paint the tips. This does take a long time compared to just like having them painted out of the box. Kind of goes without saying. Okay, so now we're gonna do, you gotta let it self-level too. Like if you do that and then you just go straight to town setting it, it may not be self-leveled yet because it takes a
just
second.
Give it a second.
See this? There's a miss, so I'm just gonna cover that spot. Too much?
It'll get covered in your second coat too.
Oh, that's true, I guess. I'm having a lot harder time on this one, Camera Crew. I should have let you do it.
Yeah.
You know what?
All right.
If you get it really bad, what's the best thing to do?
Wipe it off with rubbing alcohol before
Start
you cure
again?
it and just start over if you think it's going to be bad. But you'll be amazed at how much difference a second coat or even a third coat makes.
Yeah.
Your first coat should be like, it's going to be kind of streaky and see-through. But you want it to be thin enough that it'll cure completely. Otherwise, you're going to have bubbles.
Bubbles. Nobody wants bubbles.
No.
So now the other thing too is if you decide to do this and you're like sitting here listening to music, having a beverage, enjoying your family's company, things like this, time will fly a little quicker than if you're filming it.
Yeah.
But suppose you're filming it like me, which would be weird. Why are you filming it? I already have an awesome video. But I'm just, if you're doing this and just enjoying time doing it, it's a lot quicker. And we've got 2 of these machines going. You wouldn't need 2. That'd be crazy.
No. Just
Yeah.
put them around.
So we'll come back in a few minutes when we get the second coat, and then we'll show you how we rebalance it. Okay, so guys, while you were gone, we were getting the other side painted, the back side. We put the second coat on. And then I realized, I'm like, wait, hold on a second. Why don't we just add a little bit to the inside of the spinner to make the spinner balance? And you'll notice that, see that? Now it's like perfect. That's pretty cool. So I was able to do that, and I just smeared a little bit of the stuff on the inside of this one side right here and the inside of the one side right there.
You can barely even see it.
I know, that's
Cool.
the key.
Right.
That's why it's so nice. So now I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do as the final step, because this stuff sets up so nicely and so fast. And I don't even care if it has a perfect finish. I just want it to be, I don't want to get that stuff on here, obviously. You can see now really good. So now all I have to do is just get this into one of these things. And then you can see the front and the back and show them with your fingers how nice that is, how perfect. It's smooth, guys. It's smooth and hard.
It's smooth and it's shiny and
it's beautiful.
yeah.
Now you could do a third coat and make it look near perfect
Yeah.
if you were not me. But whatever. The point is it works and it's really cool. And this is just like one of those things where it's like, I would have never expected that this would work so good. And we kind of accidentally stumbled onto this idea. And it's actually pretty sweet because
Yeah.
we do a lot of like interesting, strange things in this hobby. And I wouldn't put it past anybody to have nail polish in their kit. I used to have clear nail polish in my speaker stuff because I could fix cones and things that had small cracks with clear nail polish.
I feel like you used nail polish for something else, like on airplanes before, but it takes forever to dry. So it was
Well, no,
always a
I
pain.
used nail polish to paint tips before.
Yeah.
But I never used this type of nail polish.
This
This
is
stuff
nice.
levels better and it's also like less stinky. Like
Yeah.
you can barely smell it, and then it dries hard and it's like solid. And I can go out and fly that now and it won't like fling off the end and then unbalance your prop.
Yeah.
Now, if you do a thick coat and you paint it on there and you don't give it enough time to set, so now let's see if that's set. This may not have. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. It is. It is. It's set.
Nice.
That's awesome. I'm gonna do a couple more cycles. Maybe I don't know if you guys can kind of see, but the opening is not maybe big enough for every spinner, but I could actually set this in here. I think the best thing to do, actually this one seems to work a little bit better. It's slightly
A
bigger.
little taller. The other thing
Oh,
is...
I can just squish it in there. Duh.
Okay. And I was gonna say you could take the lamp and like set it over something, like set it up on its end over something if you had a small painted piece or something that was on your plane.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, the lamp doesn't have to sit that way to work.
So while that's working, let's go ahead and balance this again. We said we'd come back and show you how we're gonna balance this. So obviously remember the tip needs to protrude into the middle of the opening. That way it centers, okay? You can't have slop. If you have slop, you're not gonna be doing anything. Okay, so it's gotta be like this. This is basically just like a really pretty nice precision machine tool is what it is. And anything that's like a consumer grade precision machine tool, I kind of chuckle at because I work on industrial measurement systems and they're not cheap. They're all expensive, very expensive. So, are you kidding me?
I was gonna say, watch it
That's,
be like
there's
perfect.
no way. I might have just got lucky. I mean, I certainly, like, this wasn't supposed to be perfect. Did we really get it that lucky? Like, that's crazy.
You're just that good, hon.
That is really, like, I can't believe it. I thought for sure we were gonna have to sand it. And the thing is, like, all you do is you just go along and sand the edge then, because you're only doing small adjustments at this point. So that is perfect. So now, okay, just for grins and giggles, let's go ahead and that thing's set up now. I don't know if this is gonna work because there's no way to secure the let's look at this actually quick while we're off of this. Yeah, that's totally set up. See?
Yeah.
It's not sticky, it's smooth.
Yep.
I mean, you could probably sit there and scrape it off with your fingernail, but it's set.
Yeah. I mean, like when we use this on our nails, because that's primarily what we got it for. Like our girls will do it and then like go to bed or like get in the car and leave and go somewhere. Like
Which you could never do that with other nail polish.
It's done. Like it's cured.
It's done, yeah, at that point.
Which is super nice for stuff
I
like
think to do this with the spinner, you have to be able to somehow secure this to that.
because it'll move. It's gonna
Because
move too
this
much.
is allowed to move too much.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna work. You would have to have something in the middle to secure it, and I just don't think we have the way to do it. So I'm not even gonna do that test. So anyway, guys, we wanted to show you that. There is a reason why some things we choose not to film, because it doesn't make sense to film this every time. Maybe once just to show you how it's done. But really, when this comes in handy is with a 5-bladed prop. Because it's a lot harder to balance.
Yeah.
Or a spinner that's heavy and actually makes a difference. Or on a gas engine that's like, it might fling off and kill somebody, which again, that doesn't really happen. So I shouldn't say stuff like that, but when you get into the bigger planes, there's more risk.
Right.
When you get into the bigger planes, there's more possibility of injury. We almost never have injuries in this hobby because people that do this are either really stupid and they fall out of the hobby immediately, which we're trying to avoid, by the way. Not the stupid people falling out, but the people that care and have some sense about them. And then secondly, you have to be able to achieve some levels of success in life to be able to buy things that fly through the air and could potentially hit you in the head.
Well, and like you said, I mean, we spent an hour doing that, and people are like watching us just sit here and do it. But the other day you did it, and I was making dinner, and the kids were playing, and like we were just
Call it.
it's not as big of a deal.
Yeah, right. So a lot of the things we do, we do it in a way that takes longer too, because we're trying to share with you how to do it. It's not like you would take that long if you were just doing this on your own.
Right.
Okay. You'd be like, hey, honey, look how cool this is. That's amazing. I'm so glad I bought you that thing. Totally for you and not for me at all for our anniversary. And you'll still get brownie points, whatever they look like in your life. I know what mine look like, and I like them.
I have an anniversary present for you to get you brownie points. That is not nail polish.
What?
I said I have an anniversary present idea for you to get brownie points.
Are you asking me for a gift?
I'm telling you what I want.
Oh, what do you want?
A robot vacuum.
You want a robot
I
sucker?
do. I do. I'm telling you on camera, I want
Sorry,
a
I was thinking
vacuum.
of something else.
Sorry, Horizon. Where's your stuff?
Horizon, if you could just rewind the video and watch again, maybe if you listen carefully, you'll pick up on all the details. Robotic suckers. Jeez.
I don't know where to go from here.
We tried. There's always Dynam. put this in here. Okay, guys, so we have a balance prop. We have a balance spinner. We've spent more time on this plane assembly that was actually extremely
so
easy. There was a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11,
There's 12
12,
screws.
13, 14, 15, 16 screws that had to be articulated
Okay.
because we had to take the cap off the
Yeah.
back. That is pretty amazing.
We
And
spent
the,
way more
the
time
worst
on the
part
prop
was
than
the
whole-
antenna,
Yeah.
which is flexi. That's a good thing. Flexi seal. That's another thing we should have on this channel. Let's do flexi seal next time. That looks sweet. Guys, I am such a sucker for general aviation aircraft.
The white tips are cool.
It
I
looks
like
so
the
much
white.
better.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Just
looks
one of
so
those
much
little
better. It
things.
looks more realistic. And then like when it's out in the sun and you see this circle of
Yeah.
white, it's just gonna look sweet.
cool.
It reminds me of the Twin Otter, which some people have some interesting nicknames for the Twin Otter.
What? Oh, I mean, don't tell me now. But tell me later.
I mean, if they say it on YouTube, I should be able to say it out here. But there are a lot of interesting nicknames in aviation, like cockpits.
Oh, well,
I'm just saying.
that was probably a chicken or the egg thing.
I
Cockpit first.
don't know about that. You got to remember, they used to paint naked women on the side of the airplanes. Used to, as in today. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm just the messenger. 2200 4S or 3S. This would be one of the very few times, 2200 to 3200, 3S or 4S.
Yes.
This would be one of the few times when having a 3200 4S might be cool because the extra weight might make the plane settle down. It might also make it fly not good. I don't know. I'm not sure. But a 3S might be better in this plane. We normally don't do that. Now, why would you want a smaller pack with less power? Because you can always just not use it. Okay, so keep that in mind. But here's the thing. When you have a 4S, it's heavier, which means that you have to necessarily use more power in order to get airborne. It's a very small amount of difference in weight between this 4S and this 3S. 3S Gen 2, 4S Gen 2, both 30C. This is 4S, that's 3S, 2200 milliamps. 1, 2, 3 cells. 1, 2, 3, 4 cells, which means you have a higher voltage, which means the motor spins faster if you command it to do so. You can also pretty much always just use less throttle. That is very hard for beginners. This is an intermediate skill level plane. I would argue that this plane should be a beginner skill, but you're like, but Brian, it's got a low wing. So what? It has safe select, which will automatically level the plane when you let go of the sticks, which is what you're gonna have with a high wing, is that a high wing with dihedral, this says dihedral, the dihedral is irrelevant with safe, but if you have a high wing and a low center of gravity, then when you let go of the sticks, it's gonna want to tend to kind of level itself. That's why you have wings like this, that's dihedral. This has dihedral, but safe, irrespective of a flat wing, a forward swept wing, a backward swept wing, a rearward swept wing, some sort of an asymmetrical wing. It doesn't matter because a flight controller is going to automatically correct when you let go of the sticks. It's going to auto level the plane. Now AS3X, artificial 3-axis stabilization, or artificial stabilization 3-axis is what they call AS3X. When you have a wind gust blow the wing down, the aileron is going to counter that over here, and it's going to help roll the plane back, but it's going to allow you to control the plane. So it knows when you command the plane roll compared to when the wind blows it down, because it's going to look for your input. Hey, did you tell me to do that? Yes, you did. We're going to let you roll. You didn't tell me to roll, but I'm rolling. What the heck? Let's fix it. That's what AS3X does. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Same thing with yaw, which is rudder, and pitch, which of course is your elevator, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get set up with the radio. Next, this thing looks sweet. I'm super excited for it. Guys, this thing is like literally photogenic as all gets out. Look at that thing, that is beautiful. I love the way it looks. And it's just, I would argue it's a simple plane, but if you really sit and look at the way that that plane went together, there is a lot of complex stuff in the elevator. There's complex stuff in the steerable nose gear. There's complex stuff here. And a lot of you guys are probably thinking, Brian, like what's the big deal? It's a Piper Cherokee. The big deal is it's a beautiful plane. It's very well done. It went together super easy. I did balance the prop and spinner, but honestly, that's not a big deal. You wouldn't have to do that. You could probably just put it together and fly it and you'd be up in the air in maybe 15 minutes, provided your battery's charged. So 2200, 4S or 3S, 2200, all the way up to 3200, 3S or 4S. So you could run a 2700 4S as well, which is kind of a weird size. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend a 3200 because it's a more common size. I'm just looking to see if I have a 3S. Do I have a 3S 3200? I think I do somewhere in here. Yeah, buddy. 3200, 3S, 3200, 4S. Okay. Now, it looks like the way that they're going to fit on the tray, we got to get the CG marked too. Why don't we do that before we do the radio setup? Yeah. The CG is going to be marked where? Looking in the manual, the CG is at, there's usually a drawing of the picture. Oh, here it is. Picture.
Well, it's going to be up there too.
120 millimeters plus or minus 3, so it'd be 117 to 123 millimeters. 6-minute flight timer. Okay. It's blue, or we'll do a black marker.
Probably.
Black or red, probably. Get a pair of calipers out. If you don't have a pair of calipers, of course, calipers like this. These came from one of our subscribers. I have an identical pair downstairs, but I'm too lazy to get them. So after years of watching me not get them, he said, I'm sending you some. Okay, so whoops, I'm in inches. I don't know why. Okay, so we're going to go from 117 millimeters on the early, from the front edge. Is that at the wing root? Did they say? Leading edge of the wing at the fuselage. So the wing root, sorry guys. By the way, there is a little bit of a tail drag protection here. See that? Okay. So at the wing root, I'm going to call it of the wing, not of the exact point where it touches. It's always somewhat ambiguous. The idea is you don't want to measure like follow the curve. You just want it to be as though there were a straight line going all the way up and down into the universe and the straight line all the way up and down into the universe. Okay, so I need to kind of mark it here, but we're not going to be able to test it there very good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my marker. This plane's going to test upside down because it's a low wing. I'm going to lay it something like this, and I'm going to follow out, and I'm going to mark right here in that black spot with my marker. I know it's a black marker on a black surface. It's kind of stupid to do that, but it's just the way it goes. Sometimes you get into situations like that on aircraft. Not a big deal. Okay, so I'm just kind of lining these up by sight, going out about the same distance, and then making a bump. Okay, so that's 117 to 123. So just make this say 123, or if you've got your slide, just read your slide. Okay, so we'll go down to 123. You can tighten this on this particular tool. So this is on the tail end of the CG. Just looking from straight above, going in here to make my mark. So now I can take this and make my mark. And you're like, Brian, you just made a big black mark on the side of your plane. Yes, I did.
Yep, we know.
That's exactly correct, I did. And I love it too. It's the most beautiful mark you've ever seen, the best CG mark you've ever seen. I know CG marks. I'm an expert CG marksman. Okay. You'll notice that there's a mark on either side. That's all by design. There's the front edge and the back edge. You can also just mark the center of gravity, and then you can just try to center it in the center of the center. That's fine. I don't necessarily do that. If I'm in question, I'll make it a little bit tail heavy on the front and a little bit nose heavy on the back. So it's easy enough to try. I think this plane is going to be probably really good on 3S. So I'm going to size it for 3S 3200. I think that's a good medium size, middle of the road. 2200 3S would be fine. It's just not going to be a very long flight. I feel like people are going to want a longer flight on this because you're going to want to just touch and goes over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
And these Gen 2 packs just seem to go forever.
Yeah.
So if they call it a 6-minute flight time, it usually lasts for like 12. Okay. I have no clue where this is going to go, so I'm just going to guess for my initial setting. I'm not going to like get too bent out of shape about these things. These are the low quality, low grade straps. When I say low quality, I mean There is an echelon of strap. I'm not saying that this is bad. I'm saying it's the lightest duty of the offerings within the Horizon lineup. They actually go one step lighter than this. These ones are really good on the sticky side, and they're very easy to articulate, or very easy to slide through and all that, but they're very light, so you can rip them if you pull hard, okay? But again, on this plane, it's not like, you know, some jet that's gonna be a big issue, okay? So just tuck that down. I'm just gonna simulate as though I was plugging it in and make sure I can reach, and then I'll just kind of stick that about where it goes, because yes, the balance lead, of course, doesn't make a big difference. This is Gen 1 pack. These are both Gen 2 packs. You can get these in Gen 2. We'll link to Gen 2 packs if you want Gen 1 packs. Actually, we'll just generically link so you can pick whatever you want. The Gen 2 packs are a little bit more expensive, but they have a little bit better balancing capability. These smart packs self-balance all the time, even when you're using them. That is a very big deal. I didn't think it was a big deal until I found out it was a big deal, and it is a big deal. Now you can just take my word for it, or you can go back and watch when I used to naysay these things, and now I love them, and you'll see there's a ton of batteries right there. They're expensive, and I have a lot of them, and guess what? All my other batteries are gone or puffed like this, like 2200.
Yeah.
I should take them out back and shoot them. Sorry, YouTube. Now we're
Not made for kids.
not made for kids. We decided to demonetize your channel because you said shoot and inanimate objects. Okay, nose heavy, both holes. Okay. The other thing too to keep in mind when you're checking your CG on this plane is that this having the servo centered might be of some consequence. Okay, so I'm nose heavy there. Going back quite a bit, so I'm like at this first, let's call it a rib. Okay. Let's try that and see how it looks. The reason we don't just show you what to do is we're teaching you how to do it yourself. A lot of people on YouTube just show you what it is. Great, good for them. That's short format. We don't do short format here on Brian Phillips RC, we do long format, which means that you see how we arrived, where we arrived at most items. You'll notice we didn't show you painting the back of the tip because it was just getting really long. But the thing is, we try to show you the whole process because we run into things as we go. Okay, we're going back to the front edge of this strap. Okay.
Well, and we don't want you to get a plane and then be frustrated because it took you an hour to put together when you thought it was only going to take you 10 minutes.
Which is such a lie. All these manufacturers lie about how long it's going to take.
It's going to take...
It's like, oh, 15 minutes to install a storm door. Yeah, in what universe? Like in a universe where you have a time change in the middle of it? Yeah, it started at 4 o'clock and we got done at, 4:15. But I mean, it was daylight savings time. You know, don't mind that. Nope. We also started the door in Arizona and we ended in California. Oh wait, would it be the other way?
I think they're in the same time.
No, yeah, that's right. Sorry, we started in Texas and we ended in California. No big deal. Would you install it in an airplane? Yeah, storm door. All right, so we're going way back here, guys.
Oh.
Look at this. It's like halfway. Like, what are you looking for, Brian? What are you looking for when you check the CG? I'm taking my finger, the pad of my finger, and I'm putting it onto both of these holes. That's why I make a bump. The bump is easy to feel. You can make a bump a bunch of different ways. Some people use push pins. Some people use like little push tacks. I used to use hot glue. Front holes, tail heavy. Back holes, nose heavy. Very, very lightly tail heavy. This thing's gonna flare easy. I think it needs to go back more. Well, that's barely in there. Not the first time I've had a weird position for a battery in a Horizon plane. Horizon's one of the best for stuff like that, but at least they tell you the right information. Okay, on the back hole, we are nose heavy, but just barely, and we are tail heavy on the front hole. So I think we're somewhere between where we were and where we're going. Let's look. Let's go about here, okay? I'm marking it. This is something too that's really helpful for you as you get more planes. Okay, so that's gonna be right there. It's gonna be 3200 3S, 30C. And the wires go that way. That's what this arrow means. And just start a system that makes sense to you. So then we know a starting point. Now we may find out that it flies a little bit too heavy, a little bit nose heavy. At that position, we can adjust from there. Okay, now if we're gonna do 4S, we're probably gonna, why don't we say 3S 3200 and you know, let's do 4S 2200 because I feel like it's gonna be really similar. Okay, we'll do that one vertical because this is a huge battery tray. Why don't we just go to the same exact spot and see if it works?
Yeah.
It's still lighter though. I think it's gonna have to go forward. Okay, hold the lead where it's gonna approximately be. These Gen 2 packs are great because they're a lot smaller. Like physically they're smaller. Gen 1, Gen 2 are smaller than some of the older packs that were not smart packs. Okay, kind of holding in the middle this time. Nose heavy at the front, tail heavy at the back. It's actually pretty good right there. I'm surprised. I shouldn't have to dink around with that. I would say same thing. Yeah, 2200. Okay, so at that point, that's 3200 3S or 2200 4S, right? So we have a starting point, 30C, with the leads going that way. Okay, so that gives us a starting point. Now, any of the steps that you've seen in this video, you can copy exactly along. You can do it in your very own Cherokee Cherokee, or you could do it your own way. We don't care. We just want you to have some baseline from which to work from. You can follow along in the manual. Horizon does a great job on manuals. They're one of the few companies that you can read the manual. It's in English and you'll understand. I don't care if you speak Chinese, if you speak English, you're going to be able to read the manual in whatever of the variants that they offer, whereas we get Chinese to English manuals all the time that are just total garbage. They really don't explain what you need to understand. However, there's a couple of different details in this manual that were missed, namely, where does the antenna go? How do you install it? We figured it out. It wasn't hard. And then secondly, what was the other thing we had?
Well, they had a couple extra steps in installing the nose gear that we didn't actually have to do.
Oh yeah, and sometimes Horizon shares that, and like I don't mind if they show extra steps. It can be a little bit confusing at times. All right, so that being said, the next step for us is going to be, I think we should start this out with 3200 3S, but since we already have a 4S in here, we might as well go ahead and get radio set up that way. So we'll be prepared. We'll lay this aside for the moment, and let's go ahead and get our radio out, and we'll do the radio setup next. All right, YouTube, we're back. We're gonna do the radio setup on this Cherokee 1.3. And so if you haven't ever watched the channel before, welcome. This is Horizon Hobby, E-flite. Horizon Hobby is the mother company. And then E-flite is the brand within Horizon. They make really good planes. And so one of the reasons they're so good is because they have similar manuals that make it really easy to follow through the steps to set up your transmitter, which is programmable in this case on an NX8, to a bind and fly plane like this. So we're gonna show you how to do that right now. This is the radio setup part of the build. We usually do an unbox build radio setup, and then at the beginning we put the maiden flights that actually happen at the end for us, and then you watch it in this order. So it's out of order. If it's out of order and it confuses you, I'm sorry. You'll connect the dots after you watch about another 400 videos. Okay, page 4. It's got some setup on it. Okay, the setup is here. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna set up really close to what the manual says, but then on this page right before, it shows if you're doing a plug-in fly, which is the type of setup you would do if you were putting your own receiver in there. This is bind and fly basic, as you can see over here on the box. Bind and fly basic is going to include only the receiver. You have to provide your own battery and then your own transmitter. So we're doing bind and fly basic. All right, excuse me. So this is the new version 2 Cherokee 1.3. It comes with an AR631 as opposed to the 637 that used to be installed. And the 637s became unavailable, and so they've been upgraded to the 631. There's no change as far as you're concerned. It's going to be basically a Safe Select equipped plane. I think the Cherokee was originally a Safe Select equipped plane, but it might have been just AS3X only. Either way, it's got Safe Select now. So Safe Select means that you can use a selecting switch to turn it on and off, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do is we are going to set up a new model. And first things first, with your transmitter on, you're going to click into function list, scroll down to system setup. Click yes to acknowledge and disconnect RF, and then you'll go down to the model list. This is where you have to look away for a moment.
Reverse your eyes.
add new model at the very bottom, click. It brings up this screen, shows an acro. You could also select that and change it to like a heli or a quad or template or bind and fly. Yes, if it is a bind and fly, you should be able to get the template on the website. I don't show you how to download that. Yes, there is Wi-Fi on this thing. And yes, it does work, but I don't show it because I want you to know how to use this very expensive tool because you should be intimately familiar with its features. And it's really not hard. It'll take you like 5 minutes to set up a model. So you need to learn how to do that. If you haven't learned how to do that, I highly recommend you do it. And I highly recommend that you do it going forward and not just download the bind and fly models. Here's why, because that's smarter.
That was compelling.
No, you should know how to do it. I mean, if it's too hard, you're in the wrong hobby because it's a very, very simple setup. Plus, you're gonna be intimately familiar with how to set things up and then how to tweak them.
Yep.
If you're brand new to the hobby and you are really legitimately brand new, I understand the concept of just wanting to get in the air. And it makes sense to want to get in the air. And I encourage brand new pilots to not get complicated things. Just get the ready to fly. Let them set it up. Get flying right away. Get flying. Keep flying. Crash, fix, fly, repeat. Do it over and over again, as much as you can. Develop the skill, and then you will want to learn these things. If you don't want to learn these things, you're probably not going to be in the hobby long enough to matter anyway, so don't bother. But most people that get into the hobby get addicted very quick. All right, come back. The reason that we cast your gaze elsewhere is because we have models that are unreleased and we can't show them. So we have to be careful. So click that. That's a new acro model and we're going to create. And then I'm pretty sure it just takes a second. Okay, good. So we go to system setup and then it says model select, model type, model name, and so on and so forth. Model type has already been set for us. If you change that, it's going to reset all your model parameters. So don't do that unless you're going in to reset a model from scratch, okay? Model name. Whoa, I updated my firmware and look what happened.
That's amazing.
Okay, so first you're gonna scroll down. It says model name, 42. You're gonna scroll through the list. That's interesting. You know why that is? Probably because at some point when you have a touchscreen, it's going to be exactly the same. Okay, so in this case, you see how it's highlighted 4? So I want that to be a 4. I want that to be a 2. Whoops. Uh-oh. Well, this is weird. Well, I don't like that. You see what just happened?
Weird.
This is so strange. Why did you change this, Horizon? Come on. We just had it worked out. And then you click over to what you want to change, and then you highlight. You don't even highlight. And now you have to change what the letter is. So in this case, it's going to be Piper Cherokee 1.3. So I got to click over to Piper. I just updated my firmware. So that's why it looks different. And I want lowercase. This is so ridiculous.
Hit the down arrow. There you go.
No, I know. Oh. I'm just saying, like, this is weird. I wonder if I can use these to go up and down. Let's try. Nope, that just clears it. I wonder if I can use a stick. No, 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 no. Okay, all right, well, it's worth a try. Piper, okay, so we're gonna do this and come right back. It's not exactly rocket science, it's just a little bit different, so. All right, so there's an insert button now too, which is kind of cool. So I guess that must allow you to insert. And then there's also some keys like this that have function plus, so function is down here. I don't really understand exactly how that works. Oh, that goes up and down. You see that? You see? That's up and down. So when you hold function, that goes up and down. But then when you click U, so then how do I choose one of those other characters?
Can you hold function and scroll?
Yeah, but that doesn't do anything though. That's what's so weird about that. Okay, this is awkward. Okay, so I'm gonna hit backspace, backspace. See how it's just not deleting? I think what you have to do is when you have it highlighted, you can press that to clear it. And then that moves forward and that moves back, the cursor. So it gives you the ability to navigate through the entire structure. And then if you press and hold FN, you can go up and down. So that actually makes it a little bit closer to what you're used to on a regular QWERTY keyboard. But, and the other thing is that's not QWERTY, that's ABC. So QWERTY is what people are used to. I just don't understand exactly what to do to get those other characters. You see how there's other characters? Nope, I'm pressing and holding it, it doesn't do it. Okay, well, I guess I don't really care, so it's not really that big a deal. All right, so that's it. Piper Cherokee 1.3, just as it's indicated here. I always put the size on there just so that, you know, if they make a UMX or something like that later, we can do that. So I'm gonna go back and back. And the beeping is normal, evidently, because they didn't fix that part in the software update.
Maybe it's supposed to be.
Aircraft type. Okay, so this is where you will go back to that page. Now we know there's flaps on this plane, so we're gonna have to set that up at some point. So it says wing type is 1 aileron, 1 flap. And it says aircraft type here, which this says wing type because it used to be wing type in the DX lineup. Okay, so I'm not sure why they haven't updated the nomenclature because this is obviously the latest and greatest that you can use. Wing, 1 aileron, 1 flap. And it says aircraft type. So the wing, oh, that's the wing within the aircraft type. So my apologies, Horizon. 1 aileron, 1 flap. And then the tail is obviously set up as such. You can look at it and see, okay? Then I hit next, scroll to the airplane. I like to switch this to a plane that's more appropriate match, if there is such a thing. And it looks like we were probably pretty darn close. Okay, good enough for me. Start all transmitter programming with a blink acro. Okay, so they want high and low at 170, and then the servo travel throttle cuts at -130. I don't know why. I'm just going to set it up to that because the last time we didn't, we had issues with the prop starting, and so I just don't do that anymore. So throttle cut, inhibit, set it to switch H. This is one of the safety features that I actually push because it works. One of the reasons this is so important is because when you use a lanyard, you may have this spinning around and you may actually bump that. You may bump it. It's very easy to bump the throttle. I pick this switch. You can pick whatever switch you want. I would pick H. That's what I do. You can pick whatever you want. Once you've set it, you move the stick and you see this down here. It's a little monitor. It's not working, which is what you want. Then you unset it and it works. Throttle cuts on. Sometimes throttle hold is used interchangeably on the channel. It's an accident. I do it a lot. So now the timer. We want a countdown timer. We want one time active. That means when I go over 25%, irregardless of throttle hold or throttle cut, the timer starts. They suggest a 6-minute timer, which is kind of crazy. I doubt it's going to be only 6 minutes, especially with a, what are we flying this with, 3200 3S? Yeah. Or we'll do 2200 4S, okay? So the next, at 1 minute I want nothing, at 30 seconds I want nothing, at 20 seconds I want nothing, at 10 seconds I want a voice countdown, at expiration I want tone and vibrate. Every minute I'll take a 1 tone. Now, if you have a receiver with battery pack telemetry, which you can upgrade this, which I don't know why you would ever do that, then you can actually add voice prompts that will tell you how much voltage you have left, how much current you have used, so you can count out how many milliamp hours, which is a rate, not a current, but it is a rate per hour. So in this case, milliamp hours that have been consumed will allow you to have some sort of a reasonable calculation of how much battery you have left based on the size you started with. You can also have it just give you alarms based on certain voltage ranges. You can have it start an audio warning event. So an audio event. So audio events are down here. Past telemetry and into audio events. Can't really set that up until your transmitter has been bound to your receiver. At which point the receiver and the transmitter will know what language they're talking. They're gonna know what's available. So if this was an AR637T or 637TA, then you would have PAC telemetry. You don't have PAC telemetry on an AR631 because it's a little bit less sophisticated, it's a little cheaper. So if you decide to replace that and put a 637T, there's more setup than a bind and fly would have on it. So if you buy this as a plug and fly and you put the AR637T in there, it's gonna be a fairly expensive plane because it's an expensive receiver. I would not recommend it. Just get the bind and fly, you'll be fine. Run by the timer, check your voltage when you land the first time, and then you can set it accordingly. It's not that big a deal. Now, if this was an EDF jet and it was a high performance thing, then you might actually want that telemetry because there's gonna be various different flight performances are gonna call for different demands on the battery. Or if it was a sailplane and you were flying it for sometimes hours and sometimes minutes, then that really comes into play. And that telemetry really is helpful. But on a plane like this, set the timer, see what you got on your landing, and then you can just adjust the timer accordingly. Respect the timer and you'll be fine. Good thought? Mm-hmm. Okay. There's also a low voltage warning typically on a lot of the planes that will pulse the motor when it gets low. I don't know if that exists on this. It's called a low voltage warning, LVW. Or low voltage cutoff, LVC. LVC is part of the electronic speed control, which is what makes the brushless motors work. Brushless motors are better than brushed motors because they have no contact point. They have a stator that spins around a bunch of magnets. The magnets are energized by the ESC in a certain timing sequence, which spins the stator and makes it go this way, or spins the stator and makes it go that way. Mm-hmm. Switching 2 of the 3 wires will make the motor go the other direction. Okay? Any 2, doesn't matter. You can also go into program an ESC and change the direction of travel. Bind and fly planes never need you to do that unless there's just an extreme screw up at the factory. I've never seen it from Horizon. I have on other manufacturers. Okay, all right, so getting back to the point, so now we need to bind this thing. Or except we gotta set up flaps. Let's set up flaps. Flap system, it's inhibited currently. I'm gonna go down to flaps, set it to switch B. That's what I want. They might suggest something else here. I don't really care. I'm not gonna do it that way. I'm gonna do it my way. So they suggest setting that switch to switch D. I use B, okay? B is here, D is here. They're both 3-position switches. They work exactly the same way. It's not gonna make a difference. Okay, switch B is already attached to auxiliary 2. Keep that in mind. We'll have to unattach that at some point potentially. So, whereas switch D is not attached to something else. So that's one convenience of using D versus B. I can't get to D very good because I'm on the sticks for throttle with my thumbs. Some people use pincer grip. It's not as hard to get to D as it would be if I was using thumbs. I use thumbs, so I want this. All right, that's the reason. So this is where they tell you how to set up switch D in this case. I'm gonna use B, so minus 100. Okay. And they want 90 on the way down. Okay. So it's fast acting right now. Elevator is no correction. That's weird. Okay. So we'll leave that. They obviously went out of the way to show that, and that's good. Oh, look, speed, normal or linked. Look at that, normal, linked, independent. Oh, linked. Haha, you remember how I used to say, that's weird, you gotta flip the switch and set it? Now it's linked, or independent means each click of your switch will dictate whether or not you need that. Well, looks like it's still independent. I don't care. I'm just gonna put it back to linked. See, flap moves. Maybe that has to do with the elevator. Okay, elevator, let's just test. So we'll go to like 32 and like 50, which is crazy, but we'll be able to see it here on the elevator. See how it moves at the same rate? Now watch this. Independent, watch this. I don't even know what that does. Okay, whatever. We're gonna clear it to 0. We're gonna clear it to 0. I don't care. The only reason I'm reviewing a few of these things today that I normally wouldn't review is because I did a firmware update on this transmitter just, like the other day?
Yeah, a couple
days ago. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now let's talk about dual rates in Expo. Dual rates in Expo are a big factor of making planes fly easier. I assign everything to F. This is the most touchy. This is where I take off, and this is the least touchy. Okay, so more Expo, less Expo, neutral, in the middle, where we want to start. We have an out if it's not touchy enough, and we have an out if it's too touchy. Now, how do we do that, Ryan? Well, we click on this, we scroll down, and we set it to switch F. This is the lowest, least touchy. They suggest nothing for Expo, okay? So I'm gonna set it to 10, 20, And 30, drop the rates down to 90. Now, why do I do that instead of 170 for rates? First of all, this is a 3-position switch, and I use the switch all the time exclusively, every single plane. And here's why. Because when you have a switch that you're used to, you use that switch all the time on every plane as much as you can possibly. Keep it consistent, keep it consistent. You'll memorize, you'll have less problems. You're not gonna be searching for switches. If you set this up to what the manual says, that's probably fine too, but just keep in mind, whatever you can get to is what you're gonna use, okay? I can get to the switch, but I don't ever use it for anything, okay? This is switch, what is that, switch G. I don't ever use G for anything, okay? It's a good switch, I can get to it easy, but I never use it, okay? I use switch F. I don't know why, that's just what I learned with, and that's what I'm sticking with. There's nothing magical about switch F. You could switch E for ailerons, F for elevator, and G for rudder. And if you wanted to do that, that'd be perfectly fine. I'm gonna use this for all 3. Why? Because generally speaking, if a plane is touchy, you're gonna know it, and you're gonna know what axis it's touchy on. And when you land on your Maiden, you'll make your adjustment to all of the different settings. Once you've adjusted it once, you save it, it's done, you never think about it again, and you never go back. You never think about it, trust me. Okay, so aileron set up for switch F. Elevator, the other axis. There's 3 axes, elevator, aileron, and rudder. Okay, so we're gonna set this to 10. We're gonna do the same thing as we did with the ailerons. Sometimes you're gonna find out the ailerons are super touchy, so you gotta go a little bit higher on ailerons. Sometimes you're gonna find the elevator super touchy. Now, why expo instead of rates? Because with rates, if I pull this stick back, I'm only ever gonna get 90% output, ever. In this, I get 100%, but it's nice and spongy in the middle, so it's comfortable to fly, okay? And with this, it's touchy. Now on a 3D plane, I might actually run negative expo, which means that it's extra touchy at the center. So you don't have to move the stick very far to make a movement on the plane, because you don't want to have to be janking the stick like this to fly 3D. There'll be a lot of pilot fatigue, and it's very hard. You don't have near as much precision control over here, because your brain is not used to doing that. You're gonna fly like here. When you're a good pilot, you're not gonna be like out here all the time. That's the way new pilots do it. Okay?
That's how I fly.
Yes. So, all right, rudder, same thing. 10, 20, and 30. And drop the rates on the 30. Now, this has served me very well, and I have hundreds of planes, okay? This does not mean that everybody's gonna love it this way, and I don't care if you love it this way, you can do it your way. This is a highly subjective thing. It is not that my way is right and your way is wrong. We never intend to mean that, and we hope you don't take it that way. But people have certain things that they like about the way certain planes fly. Some people hate flying with stabilizers. Some people love flying with stabilizers. Some experienced pilots still fly with stabilizers because they like the way the plane looks. A lot of very experienced pilots disdain stabilizers. Whatever, fine. This is not a stabilizer, that's expo, dual rates. By the way, my timer is about to go off, so I'm gonna clear that because it's annoying to listen to. The British gal is obnoxious when you're not wanting to hear talk. That's why audio events, you need to be very careful. It is extremely distracting to have audio events, especially warnings. Warnings are the worst. They will distract you so bad when you're under duress, making a sketchy landing because your battery's dying or something like that. So I encourage you highly, set the audio event to go off and then don't refresh more than like once every 15 seconds because 15 seconds is a long time in fly world. Now on the ground, 15 seconds seems, like that's pretty quick. Well, when you're up flying and you're flying a plane for like 2.5 minutes and it's action-packed, F-16, 80 millimeter, and the difference in 15 seconds is crash and lose $700 or make a perfect landing, 15 seconds makes a big difference. But the thing is, you won't be obnoxiously interfering like every 2 seconds. Plus the other thing too is audio events change your screen condition. So you have to be really careful. Audio warnings are different than audio events. So pick those wisely. Even the countdown timer drives me nuts, but I do want it, and it's long enough that I hear it, even when I'm blathering like this while I'm flying, okay? Most people don't do that play-by-play when they're flying, because that would be crazy. We're filming, so I have a pass. All right, so what else do we need to do? I think we're time to bind. Okay, lots of information in that radio setup, guys. If you're not used to hearing a lot of that information, that's probably because you're new to this hobby, and welcome to the hobby. We're gonna help take you from 72 megahertz like you used to have to what we're using now, which is 2.4 gigahertz DSM-X, DSM-2 previously, DSM-1 before that, or DSM before that. So we're up to DSM-X right now. DSM-X is a transmission protocol from here to the receiver inside of here. There's lots of bells and whistles built into that protocol, and it's pretty cool. It's called spread spectrum technology, which basically, that's why they get Spectrum is a name brand, but Spectrum is a thing. It's spectrum, a range of frequencies and things like this. So obviously a play on words there. I'm noticing that that does not track very straight. Look at that. That's because the servo is not centered. Geez, look at that. You see that servo? Before we bind, look at that servo with me. Do you see how that servo, please don't step on my toe that I creamed in the way to the bathroom. Do you want to show the people so that they understand what I'm talking about?
Somebody got injured.
I ran into the door like violently when I was going to the bathroom between clips, and I like ripped my toe off. It hurt so bad, and I was just afraid of my camera crew stepping on my vulnerable toe. I just didn't want you guys to be in the dark. So anyway, you see how this tracks like terribly? That is not gonna go. We're gonna have to fix that. Normally I would bind first, so we're gonna just get a screwdriver ready so that we can do that, and then we'll have everything centered servo-wise, and then we'll make a mechanical adjustment. I'll show you how to do that. All right, so the binding procedure is pretty simple. I know I've been jumping around a lot on this video, particularly because I'm trying to get you caught up to speed if you're new. You're gonna have a lot of questions. That's why we're here. We will walk you through things. We try to reply to 100% of comments. It just takes us weeks now to do that. So it's really bad when I'm on vacation because we're doing a lot of new footage, and so then I'm not replying to comments. When I'm working, we're not doing new footage, and then I have time to reply to comments. So there will come a time when we can't reply to 100% of comments just because there's literally only so many hours in the day. Okay, so to do the binding, it's super easy. Have your transmitter ready, have your throttle cut on, have all your knobs and switches where you want them. In my case, I want them in neutral settings. I'm gonna use this switch for safe when we get to that point. I use this switch for safe when I don't have retracts. I use this switch for retracts when I have retracts. When I have retracts and I have safe, I use this switch for safe, AS3X. Sometimes I do a nothing or a half setting, and then I use this knob for my gains. If I'm setting up an AR637T, I can set that up as I wish. I can make a no setting, I can make an AS3X setting, and I can make a safe setting. In the no setting, there is no gains, so it doesn't matter. When there is AS3X, then I can do this. And then if I had an NX6, I would make this my, and so I wouldn't have the knob, so I would just do gains high, gains mid, and then safe, something like that, okay? Doesn't matter how I set it up, you can set it up however you want, but you can copy what I do, okay? So the first thing you do with bind and fly plane like this, you'll plug it in, be careful about the prop. The prop should not start. If it starts, this is where it's gonna be cutting up your shirt. You'll notice that all the lights come to life. The steerable nose gear is not quite centered yet. We'll deal with that shortly. And this is live, but it's not bound. So I'm gonna press and hold this button for a second. It comes on with a flashy light. Then I'm gonna let go, correct? Or do I need to?
You need to press and hold.
Shoot.
You need 3 hands.
Yep. Oh, EC3 sucks so bad. This is an IC3, this is an EC3, E-flite connector, 30 amps. That's what that means. This is an IC3. It is a million times easier to unplug ICs than it is to unplug these. And you're like, whatever, Brian, they're the same. No, they're not. First of all, the IC has the smart connector lead, which everybody kind of knows. That is to carry smart data. This is an EC3. It does not have the third pin. Okay, see how there's a third pin that's sort of exposed? They are compatible still. And yes, you can plug this into an XT60. The only thing about that is the IC2 does not plug into an XT30, but an IC5 does plug into an XT90.
Yes.
Okay, everybody got that?
Yep.
We will go over it in detail if we have them in our planes. Sorry about the binding confusion. Plugged in, leave it level, don't play with it, don't get cut. If in doubt, hold the plane, make sure your elbows are out of the way of the prop. Then I need to press and hold this. I'm gonna keep my body in a safe spot. You see how my arm is? Show the people. My arm is not gonna get hit by that prop. If it goes, it should not go, and I don't believe it will. I'm gonna be holding this, even though I'm not quite ready. And then the camera crew is gonna have a bit of an angle. Then I'm gonna be prepared to press this power button while I'm holding this button down on top of the receiver. You hear the click. Now I'm gonna hold this while I'm turning on the transmitter. It says binding. Bind failed. Okay. At this point, I can shut off the transmitter while I keep holding the other button if I want. Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit further away. Now I'm gonna try again. Binding. Two dances. That means you're in safe select. Safe select is now currently on, and it can be disabled with a switch input. If you bind with AS3X only, which means you plug in your battery, you press the button, you let go, then you come over here and bind like you used to do, you're good, okay? You'll see one dance. That's it. AS3X is on. That means two sequences of dances. That means AS3X and safe are active, okay? So first things first, when we have a plane bound, you can see things move. That's good. Throttle cut is on. Tested. Tested, that's throttle. Okay, I'm gonna shut off throttle cut. It is not moving, that's good. And it doesn't, it sounds awesome because we bounced everything. Throttle cut's on and retested. That is the first and most important step of safety. If you really want to be safe, just don't mount your prop until you're done with everything else. But that's pretty impractical when you're filming stuff. So, you guys aren't filming, you don't have to do that. Flaps, down, down. Rudder moves. Okay, if you're in safe, things are not going to be neutral in the same condition as they would be if you're out of safe. So we have to make our assignments before we can do our adjustments. We are definitely in safe. I can hear things working. That's the easiest way to see. The ailerons, they're trying to find the quickest route to level. So you find level and you flip it. That also tells you where safe perceives level to be. So you know it's working. Also look at the elevator. When you're up, the elevator is trying to right the aircraft. When you're down, it's trying to right the aircraft. Now AS3X is active because I've given throttle, and I can see that rudder correcting the direction that I move the tail. It's correcting to its right, it's correcting to its left. Now, that's the easiest thing to check. You generally don't have to check them on bind and flies, but it's a good idea to check them. I'm looking at that aileron. When I lift the plane up, it's gonna go up. It goes up. But safe will be deceiving because it's trying to level the aircraft. So what we have to do is make our assignment to safe select now. So to assign safe select, first of all, throttle cuts on, everything is safe. We're gonna scroll over to monitor mode. We're gonna look what happens when we change flaps. Oh, auxiliary 2 is moving, that's weird. But when you switch D, nothing happens. I wanna use D. Excuse me, I don't wanna use D. Monitor mode. Oh look, that's assignable. We can use that. I'll just leave this. I don't care about auxiliary 2. Okay, because I'm gonna use that for safe on, safe off. Okay, so safe on or off, it doesn't matter which condition it's in, sticks down and in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Doesn't matter, you can do it more, but you have to do it at least 5 times. 5 times, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. That's why I count to 10. The manual is deceiving and it says 5. 5 confuses so many people you wouldn't believe. That's why I have a standard reply to that question because I've gotten it so many times. Okay, so safe is currently
On. Off.
okay. AS3X is still active because we gave throttle earlier on the same power cycle. Yep. If you de-energize it, re-energize it, AS3X will be off until you give throttle. That's to conserve battery because AS3X tends to use battery that wouldn't otherwise need to be consumed, correcting for wind and things like this, okay? So now, just to be clear, safe is off here. I want safe off here. So what do? We click into the servo setup. We go to that channel, which is gear, under reverse, and we flip the direction. Now, safe should be on with the switch pulled back toward my belly. Good? Mm-hmm. Now safe is off. That's the way I'm gonna fly the plane, generally speaking, because I don't like safe now that I've learned to fly. I love safe and only bought planes that had safe when I was learning to fly. Now you guys are so spoiled because you can get safe in virtually any aircraft. Mm-hmm. That being said, if you buy an SU-30 and you think safe will help you fly it, then you will be sorely mistaken because it's not gonna fly your plane for you. No. It's gonna help a little teeny bit in a pinch, but really, honestly, it's not enough. You need to have a slower flying plane. You need to have something that's very stable. You need to have something that's easy to fly. And it still makes a big difference. That being said, safe is a huge, huge help for people that are learning to fly. Okay, cool. Throttle cuts off. Look at that thing janking to the left. Okay, throttle cuts back on and tested.
That white prop tip looks so cool.
It does?
Yep.
Awesome. I'm so glad we did it now.
See it.
Okay, so that rudder looks like it's lined up. Show the people where you would look, camera crew. See, that's not lined up. See?
It's still
off to the side.
A little off.
It's off to your
left or to my right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So now I'm going to undo this screw in this thing. Can you show them right here? I'm going to undo this, and I'm going to undo this just so it's loose.
There you go.
Okay, so now look at the steerable nose gear. I'm going to just move that manually, and I'm going to roll the plane back and forth. Oop, way too much. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I can tighten this one. Now that's probably not going to be absolutely perfect, but it's going to be as good as you're going to get inside on an island. If you're out in the driveway, you can push that and roll it. It looks like maybe we need to go just a hair back. Okay, so now when you roll this, it's going to go somewhat straight. It's not perfect, but it's close enough. Then the disparity in steerable nose gear and rudder is the big thing, because what happens is you get it tracking straight down the runway. You can use trim to correct it, but most people don't. And then when you lift off the ground, then you yaw immediately. So it's really obnoxious. And you have to be like, right when you're doing all this stuff, you have this extra pilot fatigue from controlling the rudder right at a roll. And that's not a good time to have to deal with that, especially for a new pilot. Okay, so now I can just move this by hand because we loosened that screw. Okay, now that it's tight, now that it's centered, we can tighten that down. Looks good to me. So now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna stand behind the plane for easy figuring, and I'm gonna look at the control surface. Left, right, looks even. Roll left, roll right. Now we're looking at the tip right here. And then we're looking at the tip right here. What the heck happened to my wing? Did I do that?
What?
Look, right here.
Is that what we were talking about that looked weird earlier?
No.
It must have.
Did I do
like
that?
No.
That must have come that way. Dang it, that annoys me. Okay, so if you have a dent in your foam, you can fix it with heat. Warm, hot water would probably relax that foam and make it pop out. But this is a big enough divot that you might want to just take some CA and glue in a chunk. Or alternatively, here's another idea that works really nice. And we'll come back to the control surfaces, I promise. Here's a trick that will work really nice, and it'll be super duper easy. And for those of you that are lazy like me, which I'm sure there's at least one of you out there, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna bridge the gap with some tape. There's a million ways to skin this cat. This will make it nice and light. You see how I folded that over? Now, watch this. You're gonna be like, Brian, that is the lamest repair I've ever seen. Yep, you're right, it is. And yet, you're watching me do it. Okay, now watch this. I'm gonna take another piece. I'm gonna stick this down. Do you hear that servo? That's annoying. Look at that, folks. It's like it never happened.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. If I paid a body shop for that repair, I would want my money back. But you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't, and neither did you. Do you like that repair, camera crew?
That was amazing.
Hey,
really
I thought it was pretty stinking awesome. Now there's
glad
another
it was
trick. You can take Q-tips, rip the cotton out, or you can take just like cotton. You can stick that in there with CA and it will fill up the hole perfectly, and then you can cut it. It will be hard as a rock. You can cut it, paint it, or you can use spackle. That's another thing people use for foam. Okay, all right, so back to the point. Ailerons are level here. Flaps are level here. Aileron is level here. And here, I'm satisfied with all that. Takeoff flaps, landing flaps. Looks sweet. Okay, so everything is basically ready to
Have you
fly.
done the elevator?
The elevator's a little harder because what are we gonna line it up to?
No, just to test it. Oh, okay. Yep.
Okay, show them from this side. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay? So everything is working. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. I feel like those pants are actually going to be a little bit of an issue because I feel like they're rubbing a little bit. I don't know. It's probably fine. It's probably just all in my head. We'll find out when we fly it. Guys, this thing looks sweet. I am super excited. Love the way the pilot looks. Love the way the plane overall looks. Love the way it went together. Love the way that goes. Okay, we're gonna have to turn this on. Are you good? Mm-hmm. We're just gonna idle a little bit. Oh, that looks so sweet. Up against my dark shirt, can you see it?
Oh yeah, you can totally see the white.
That looks so cool. I'm super excited to see that thing in the air. It looks like it's gonna fly great. And look how sweet it is with those flaps coming down. Oh, love the Fowler flap. The Fowler flap, of course, is gonna allow this separation in between the wing surfaces. And that actually, ironically enough, a stall is when separation of the air from the wing happens. Okay, so the plane goes, falls. Okay, so flaps prevent separation from the wing surface because that's what holds the plane up. That is so cool. All right, it's a little bit windy today, so I'm not sure if we're gonna fly right now, but either way, you guys have already seen it. You've already seen it fly by now. The other thing is you may wanna mix in some rudder to aileron or aileron to rudder. Let's show the people how to do that. This plane, it didn't call out a coordination between ailerons and rudder, but I'm gonna show you how to do it right now. Click, scroll down to mixing, click into mixing, go to aileron to rudder. It's currently inhibited. I want to turn it to on. You can also attach it to a switch, like maybe you don't want it to be on when you're in flaps, okay, let's say. So you could attach that to this condition and not this condition and not this condition, you know what I mean? I don't know why they're like that gray thing, I hate that. It's so weird. Okay, so now let's turn this just to exaggerate so you can see what it looks like. Okay, now let's show the people what happens. When I move the plane to roll to the left, the rudder also comes this way. That's gonna coordinate the turns. So not only, so in a real plane, when you're flying, what you do is you roll the plane with the yoke in this case. You roll the plane and then you pull back on the elevator. And then you might coordinate with a little bit of rudder. Because otherwise, when you roll the plane and you pull back, you're gonna go up like this. Gravity is eventually gonna catch up with you. So you coordinate the turn with the rudder. So you use your pedals. So pedal here, pedal there, and you're gonna roll the plane a little teeny bit to correct, to keep your heading, to keep it level, and to get to your heading, and then you level out, okay? So the same thing can be true on a radio-controlled airplane. Generally speaking, on a radio-controlled airplane, a lot of people bank and yank. So they bank the plane and they yank if it doesn't have a rudder. But you see this is automatically correcting for you now. Unless of course we're in those two switch conditions and then it stops doing it. So now we're out of flaps and then it goes ahead and works again. See? I can still command control of the rudder this way, but it's gonna automatically mix in. Now 69 is a lot. It's maybe like 15%. So just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Because you can always do more manually, but there's just a little bit there to start.
And then with flaps, it disappears. Or maybe in this setting, you can set it to a different value, okay? So in that setting, I want it to be something different. I don't understand the curves. I think curves have to do with, like you can have another one. So like in that setting, I want it to be like 25, okay? But it's still attached to switch B. Okay, so we have 15% mix, then we have 25% mix. Okay, then we have no mix, okay? So let's do curve 3. So on curve 3, we wanna set this to, let's say 50%. It's gonna be a lot, okay? But it's only in that top setting. So look, if you have a little bit of rudder or excuse me, this is ailerons. You get a little bit, then you have more, then you have even more. See how that works? So that's curve 1, curve 2, curve 3. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So as you deploy the flaps in this case, you would get more output. But what might make better sense on this plane is just to turn it on. Now you can just select which curve you want. I'm gonna go in and clear this because it's gonna get confusing otherwise. So let's set it to 25. So it's just always, regardless of the condition, curve 0. It's on. See this? It's like I confused the heck out of it. I'm going to inhibit it, walk out, and then walk back in. Aileron to rudder. Curve 1, curve 2, curve 1, curve 0, turn it on. Okay, evidently it's curve 2. That's the standard curve. I guess there's a standard one. See, it's rolling, and it's the same. Mm-hmm. So you see, when I move this way, it's like I move that stick that way. When I move this way, it's like I move the stick that way. So that's an aileron to rudder mix. Now you can also have a rudder to aileron mix, but that's typically used to stop sloppy roll from rudder input. So it's going to be like a contrary input. So when you roll, because you're yawing the plane, it will sometimes tend to speed up this wing, which lifts, and slow down that wing, which lowers that wing. So when you yaw, some planes have a tendency to want to kind of roll too. So you can use a contrary output of ailerons when you give input to this. So that way, when this wing starts going faster, a little teeny bit of aileron will correct for it. I've used that on some planes because that way you get a really flat rudder control. All right, so without further ado, that's all you need for the radio setup. Just simple as that. And we did a lot of stuff that you didn't have to do. But we think it's going to be good. And obviously, you guys will see all the best here on Brian Phillips RC. Obviously, we go above and beyond trying to show you lots of different things that you may not have known before. And if you already knew them, hopefully you can just skip over that part. And if you like to listen to us teach other people, then you can just watch the whole thing. But at any rate, that steerable nose gear is annoying. You hear it? Mm-hmm. At any rate, what I'm going to do is this. This plane looks great. It feels like a perfect size to be able to transport easily. Balance prop, balance spinner. This thing is going to be a great plane. I can't wait to get it in the air for you. If you like the way that it flew, if you like the way that we did this video, if you think you want to get one for yourself, definitely check the link in the description below. There's a link right at the top. It's going to show this plane. We'll link to the different battery choices that are recommended. And if we go to a bigger battery or smaller battery or something like that, we'll link to that one as well. So 2200 3S, 2200 4S, 3200 3S and 3200 4S as well. So we'll link to all those. And then we'll go ahead and link to the NX series of transmitters. I would highly recommend the 8. It is a lot better value than the NX6, even though the NX6 has 7 channels and you can do everything we did on this plane with an NX6. If you do get into some of the more plug and fly planes, you're gonna want the 8 because then you have the knob for gain control. It's very handy, but you can do almost everything we've done so far on this channel in the last couple of years with the NX6. I would just highly recommend it. Plus you get the lanyard with the 8 and you get an additional switch, I think 2 extra switches and 1 extra knob. So for $40 difference, I would, if you have to just save your money, get the NX8. You're gonna be happier with it. And then also I run a bigger pack in here, a 6,000 milliamp hour pack, as opposed to the 2 that it comes with. It gives a lot longer time between charges. And yes, these things have been very good to us. I'm on my 3rd revision of firmware. It came with firmware, then we updated it right away, and now we're on to the 3rd revision of firmware, and we haven't really had any major issues. We had like, I think a couple, 3 small like glitchy things, like when you leave the model name screen menu, it's a beep, 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 beep. That's weird, I think, but it's not a problem, doesn't cause any issues. And then we had an issue where we did have the unit turn off when we were in system setup, or it got like clogged or something weird.
Frozen or whatever.
So anyway, we've had really good luck with the NX8. And I mean, we do a lot with these transmitters.
Yeah.
So if you guys only have like 1 or 2 bind and fly models and you're just getting started, you haven't even like touched the surface of what we've done with this thing. So we have really, really vetted it. Never had a radio issue in terms of disconnect, nothing like that at all. And occasionally we do hear from people that have issues like that, but we hear from hundreds of thousands of people, which is really cool that we have this like unique semi-intimate relationship with so many of you regarding the RC aircraft. And we're really glad to call you some of the best audience on YouTube. We are trying to grow the audience, obviously. And so tell your friends and family about it, and people that you meet, they might be interested in learning about this. If you get somebody that's interested in flying, direct them to our channel. Obviously, we're gonna try to help them get up to speed. There's a million different resources out there, but of course, we're just one of those. We don't wanna pretend like we're the only ones out there, but we obviously think we're the best at what we do, and we hope that you do too. If you wanna think of other ways to support us, here's a few. We have a Patreon site. You can help fund us. That's gonna help us buy some time back. Right now I work a full-time job. It is demanding. I work 50 to 60 hours a week. Then I come home and do this for 50 to 60 hours a week as well. Let's call it 40 to 50 hours on YouTube. And when we're on vacation, weekends, holidays, all that stuff, I'm pretty much doing this. And then I drag the camera crew into it. So that's one way we're trying to kind of maybe solve some problems. Also, we're gonna start a new PayPal account for people that don't wanna do regular giving, because I think Patreon is just like a monthly thing. And people have beat us over the head with that for years, asking us. If you haven't read every single comment, you don't know the people have been asking, but they have been asking. They want to support us, but they don't necessarily want to have to buy a new plane. Every time they want to give us a little support. So this way you can do that. And then obviously if you buy from the links, you can support us. But if you're in Europe and you would rather not pay for shipping or something like that, but you like the videos, you like learning from that, then please do use the Patreon. That'll help give you an outlet for that. But if you're in South Africa, New Zealand, Antarctica, whatever, if you want to ship worldwide, go to Tower Hobbies. You can buy all the items that we have on Horizon Hobby. You can buy from Tower. Tower is purchased by Horizon a few years ago, so you can buy anything you can buy from Horizon, from Tower. And the only difference is they ship worldwide. They have worldwide distribution. It's a weird loophole. So that being said, you can buy from us if you're in Europe. I don't know if that necessarily equates to the best choice for you, but we just want to give you an outlet that's going to give you what you want without having to pay us directly for the services rendered. Obviously, the services rendered are basically making videos. So we would like it best if you guys get the best bang for your buck, and we think the best way to support us is to buy planes from our links, to buy batteries from our links, to buy transmitters from our links, and then you guys don't have to go out of your way to just like support us. And we just think that's more equitable for you as a viewer. Also, there's some ad revenue that comes from YouTube. That's obvious, everybody knows that. But it's very inconsistent, and it doesn't necessarily equate well for us because we do such a long format videos that we get punished a lot from YouTube on that aspect. So as we grow our channel, other people that do 10-minute videos are gonna be preferentially treated. They're gonna grow a little bit quicker, and we do a 4-hour video, and so we get penalized for that. So just so you know, if you didn't realize that, the long format does hurt us. But it's definitely what we're doing. So come back for more.